No, there ain't no stopping us. Fly without a boarding pass. Couldn't catch me, I'll be moving fast. Call me a shooting star. Let 'em know who you are. Flying up in a bar. Wish on a star. Time to show 'em who's in charge. Call me a shooting star. Didn't even get to cross. I said I'm moving too far. Get to glass. Looking at a shooting star. Got more than a couple of people going mad. I swear they're rooting hard. Tell them I'd be big in the game like she went and got them breast implants. I said I'm moving too fast. Didn't even get a glance. I'm ready to eat up track like I'm seated in a restaurant. If you had swag like mine, you know it's best to flaunt. We aren't hating because you aren't. Shining like it's neon. Rock like kings of Leon. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then amateurs have to leave. Shooting stars across the galaxy. I stand out, so don't be mad at me. Infiltrate, I'm with my strategy. When I turn up, then amateurs have to leave. Yeah, shoot. Yeah, shoot. Yeah.
Okay, everyone, I know it's my built-in microphone because for some reason it makes me unplug and replug in my good microphone to get it recognized. Weird. It still doesn't want to recognize. My equipment failures lately, hold on, have been legendary, but we will get this worked out. Because you know what? Hold on one second. I don't think I even need to plug in the microphone back here. Y'all just gotta give me some time. And all my equipment has just started crapping out, and I've really just got to stop and do a redo of all of my equipment and connections because apparently shit's going wrong. But this gives time to build an audience. So let's see if it recognizes my good mic yet. Yes, it recognizes my good mic now. So here we go. And sorry, I am hurting some people's productivity. Boy, I'm on a real skimpy setup here in my boudoir because I am moving that camera back because I haven't even unpacked. So I am such an idiot. I was going to say, I haven't even unpacked. I don't even know if you guys can see this. I'm going to move my camera so you can. I was going to say, I haven't even unpacked, so I don't have my second monitor out of my suitcase. And look at this. My second monitor's right there. I unpacked it and forgot. I'm such an idiot. Oh well. We will deal with just doing everything on this one little tiny laptop screen. All we're going to do today is I just watched that Michael Heiss interview with Dave Smith, who was well moisturized as always. And I don't know, this light is super bright. I want to turn some of them off. That's better. Well, each time, I'm like a vampire. I don't like too much light. Is that better? Oh, I look kind of well moisturized myself. I might be giving Dave a run for his money. So we're going to watch that. Maybe not all of it, and do some comments on it, because I think there was a little bit of inaccuracies, which is to be expected because they aren't living in the thick of it. But Dave made some fire observations. But there's something, I want to go all pastor on you for a minute here. Maybe some of you people who have been to church more recently than me, because I grew a little background. I am Christian, as you know, but I would be considered unchurched right now. I haven't been to church in years because I grew disgusted with the institutional church, and it bored me. And I don't think spirituality and God should bore you. And if you start to hate going to church, to me, I know some Christians will say you should just grin and bear it and make yourself like it, fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that. I believe it's extremely disrespectful to God to be miserable in church. So there is a church I love in Denver called Scum of the Earth. And Five Iron Frenzy are the ones who started it. And they don't put on airs. It's very urban. Everyone is welcome. It's all races, all socioeconomic classes. If you're a homeless person on the street, just come on in. But getting to Denver from Castle Rock, downtown Denver, is really, really tough. So, and you can't really be part of a community that's not close to you. So while we could go there, we were never part of the community because we don't live in Denver. So we didn't continue. But it's a great church. If you are in Denver, check out Scum of the Earth Church. I believe there's also one in, what's this email I have in here? Sermon notes from 2013. So I'm going to go out biblical on you guys for a minute here. I whipped out the heavyweight. I got me the NASB MacArthur Study Bible here, baby. It's been a while. Those of you who don't know, while I'm looking up a reference, because I haven't pulled this one out for a while, so I'm not used to the index. You might not know, I have a published biblical commentary that is still being used at Liberty University as course curriculum. It's on eschatology, in which I defend the Orthodox preterist viewpoint. And it's written under a pseudonym because at the time I wrote it, I was married to a police officer who was very, very, very paranoid about privacy. So it's written under the pseudonym of D.D. Warren. And it's called... It's Not the End of the World. It's got great reviews on Amazon. But you guys, I'm looking for where Jesus pronounces woes on the Pharisees. If some of you guys who are more churched can help me remember where that's at. I'm pretty sure it's in Matthew, and I think it's around Matthew 16. And I don't like the way this index is. So I'm looking for Pharisees. And it doesn't have the woes. You know, it's woe to you, whitewashed tombs. You're full of dead man's bones. That one. If y'all could help me out here. I'm pretty sure it's in Matthew. But in either way, we're going to get started if I don't find it soon. I'm given just time for an audience to build up. I might need to just look it up. All right, let me go see if it is Matthew 16. I will be really surprised if I was correct. Where he pronounces the woes. No, it's not. It might be earlier. Matthew. Here's blessed. Yes, the Beatitudes. Let's see. Oh, here it is. Well, no, that's John the Baptist. John the Baptist, man, he was a badass too. Well, those of you... Okay, Luke, oh great, Matthew 23. Thank you. I knew we had some church people here. My commentary's on Matthew 24, so you would think I would know. And you're right. Oh my God, how did I not know that was Matthew 23? That's in my book! I am such an idiot. Okay, and I'm going to make this relevant to us today. I'm not going to be preaching Christianity at you. I don't do that. but there's a parallel I see, and there's a parallel in most religious texts to today's world. There are people on the LNC, and I'm going to give you an example. On the private list, I can't tell you exactly what the subject matter was, but I raised up a concern because obviously everyone today is so concerned about allegedly supporting Republicans that I raised up a concern that should concern the LNC about other entities doing this. And it was just raised to prove a point. I am not trying to get anyone into trouble. And apparently the title of my email was not precise. And I didn't word it. I wasn't rude. I didn't word it precisely. I might have worded it a little sarcastically. And Francis Went just starts flaming me for violation of decorum. Didn't even look at the content. All he cared about was that the title wasn't precise. And this has been going on the LNC. They care more about tone policing, hall monitoring, whether you've dotted this I and this T, rather than the utter meltdown of liberty that's going on right now. And you want to know who else did that kind of legalistic bullshit? The Pharisees. And Jesus had a few words to say to them. And I'm going to say these same words and relate it to those members of the party and the LNC to whom the shoe fits. So Jesus condemns the Pharisees. He says, woe to you, scribes and Pharisees. If you don't know who they were the legalists. They were those who made the rules. People serve the rules rather than the rules serve the people. They were those who said, well, Robert says this, even if it's the dumbest shit you ever read in your life. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you shut off the kingdom of heaven from people, for you do not enter yourselves, nor do you allow others to go in. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you devour widows' houses, and for a pretense you make long prayers. Therefore you will receive great condemnation. These people beat their chests about how decorous they are. Meanwhile, the LP is burning around them. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, because you travel around on sea and land to make one proselyte, and when he becomes one, you make him twice as much a son of hell as yourselves. Woe to you, blind guides, who say, whoever swears by the temple, that is nothing, but whoever swears by the gold of the temple is obligated. In other words, it's form over function. Are you dotting the I's? Did you put the right title in your email? You fools and blind men, which is more important, the gold or the temple that sanctified the gold? In other words, what's more important, the subject line or the content of the email? And whoever swears by the altar, that is nothing, but whoever swears by the offering, he is obligated. You blind men, what is more important, the offering or the altar that sanctifies the offering? Therefore, whoever swears by the altar swears both by the altar and by everything on it. And whoever swears by the temple swears both by the temple and by him who swears within it. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! For you tithe mint and dill and cumin, and have neglected the weightier provisions of the law, justice and mercy and faithfulness. And these are the things you should have done without neglecting the others. You blind guides who strain out a gnat and swallow a camel. What he's saying is you choke on the minors. You choke on the minor things. This rude word, it's choking me. Meanwhile, you're swallowing the camel of the blind, this overreach of the party. You're more concerned about me saying fuck than about the absolute disenfranchisement of an entire affiliate. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and the dish, but inside you're full of robbery and self-injustice. You blind Pharisees, first clean the inside of the cup and the dish, so that the outside of it may be clean also. Woe to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you are like whitewashed tombs, which are on the outside appear beautiful, but inside are full of dead men's bones. You and your politeness. So you too appear outwardly righteous to men, but inwardly you are full of hypocrisy and lawlessness. That's all I have to say on that. Whitewashed tombs. Tired of it. And you know what I said to Francis Went? Censor me. I don't care. Pharisee. Okay, now we're going to go to going over the show. Welcome, everyone. Oh, before I go to the show, let me take a look at comments. And I'm sorry because my mic is like right here in the way. And let's continue. Oh, yeah, Jesus was talking about virtue signaling. Exactly. I never compared it to that. That is exactly right. Full of the whitewashed tombs, full of dead men's bones. Bet you guys never enjoyed the Bible so much as today. Yeah, Amash, Dave, and Spike have all endorsed returning control to the XCOM because it's obvious. And so has Susan Hogarth, who is one of the founders of the Radical Caucus. Joe Schmo, you were raised as a Mennonite. I actually have great sympathies to the Mennonites. In becoming unchurched, I've become more pietistic, as you can tell. I care more about the substance of the law because evangelicals right now will be clutching their pearls because I'm showing breast, right? I don't care about those things anymore. I care about justice and mercy and the law and caring for the downtrodden and defending the defenseless. And I think that's what Jesus wanted us to care about. And wow, there's a bunch of church people in here. Proud of y'all. Listen, if you're into eschatology, this is the last thing I'm going to say about the Bible. If you're into eschatology, what eschatology is the study of the end times. Something that falls within eschatology is that bullshit left behind. Bullshit. Now you know how I feel about Left Behind. And my book is actually a response to the Left Behind rapture madness. You will enjoy my book. And if you enjoy my style, though without obviously all the cussing, but my style of argumentation and the way of setting out things logically, you will really enjoy my book. And funny enough, it's a historical study because I'm always at heart a historian. I spent over 300 pages on one chapter of the Bible. I think there's 400 endnotes. Everything is thoroughly sourced. And by the end of it, you might also be an Orthodox preterist. And what an Orthodox preterist is, for those who do not know, it believes that most of the bad shit talked about in the Bible, that's in the book of Revelation and Matthew 24, is not talking about our future, but is in fact talking about the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD. So that's the synopsis of it. If that intrigues you, please go to Amazon and look up It's Not the End of the World by D.D. Warren. Okay. And I see I got a little bat in the cave here. Sorry about that. Y'all got to tell me when I got lipstick on my teeth or if I got a bat in the cave, okay? Because I don't always look in the mirror. I'm in favor of breasts as well. I get distracted by my own breasts. Kenny says he hasn't read my book yet. You will enjoy it, and you will recognize my style, even though it's much churchy, because I was in the middle of fundamentalism at the time. There are a few things in that book I would not still hold to. And I'm turning off my camera for a minute, because I really do need to... well, let's wait a second, because I need to blow my nose, I think. Okay. Let's continue. All right. Hey, Facebook says they're also an unchurched Orthodox preterist. Welcome, fam. We are rare unicorns. I'm also a post-millennialist. Be curious if you are as well. If you're not, I'd love to talk about it. And the funny thing is, I'm going to go for just 2 more minutes. The thing that turned me both preterist and postmillennial wasn't Matthew 24 and this generation. It was 1 Corinthians 15, which lays out the definite order of the end times. And most church people, here is point of trivia, and this is the last thing you guys can tell me. Any of you guys who get this, I will love you. For you churchy people, what is the most quoted or alluded to Old Testament passage in the New Testament? You would think every Christian would know that. But they don't, and it's the key to understanding eschatology. Okay, so now I am going to pull up that video. So if you want to give me a second, and Elastic Giraffe, a lot of preterists are all millennial. I'm not classic post-millennial, which believes in a literal 1,000 years. I'm a neo-post-millennial, which is very close to all-millennial, but we're just much more optimistic. So I am waiting to see which of the Christians here do know the most cited or alluded to Old Testament passage in the New Testament. Okay, I'm pulling up YouTube right now. Again, you guys got to have a little patience with me because, as somebody noted, when I only have one screen, multitasking makes it really difficult, and I have to hide your comments in order to do a bunch of things and all of that. So right now I'm pulling up YouTube. I don't see your comments at this moment. Oh, and crap, you guys, because this happened after I got off stream last night, where the chair moved to disaffiliate New Hampshire. Maybe we'll talk about that during the stream. Okay, YouTube's coming up. I seem to have a little bit of a slow signal. Okay, so let me look up Dave Smith. And I'm seeing my own stream. Oh my God, Inception. Oh, I don't want to look up Dave Smith. I want to look up Part of the Problem. Okay, it came up anyway. So the New Hampshire debacle. One second. Let me put... Whoop, don't want to... Okay. Stop. Okay, I made it full screen. Okay, so now let me go back to here. See where we're at. And nobody has gotten the answer. So I'm going to let you guys know, and then we'll move on. It's Psalm 110 is the most alluded to or quoted verse. Actually, Psalm 110, 1 through 2 to be specific, where it says, "The Lord said to my Lord, sit at my right hand until I make your enemies a footstool for your feet." And that is the key to entire... Yeah, Elastic Giraffe got it. It's actually Psalm 110, 1 through 2. Yeah, it's called the Dixit Dominus. And if you can't understand Psalm 110, you cannot understand New Testament eschatology. Okay, so let me see. Oh, okay, Rochelle, I didn't see that. It's really hard for me. Oh, I see that now. Yes, the Lord said to my Lord. And Richard Bachman in God Crucified goes through it very, very well. Okay, so if I share, okay, that's my desktop. And D.D. Warren is spelled D-E-E space D-E-E-W-A-R-R-E-N. My husband insisted upon that. Carol Moore makes a big deal out of that, as if writing under a nom de plume is really all that unusual. It's not, but it was at the insistence of my husband, who is my ex-husband, who was a police officer at that time and is still a police officer. Okay, so let me hit play.
With nonviolent drug offenders. If you want to know who America's next enemy is, look at who we're funding right now. Every single one of these problems are a result of government being way too big.
As long as we can hear it.
You're listening to Part of the Problem on the Gas
are you guys hearing it?
Here's your host, Dave Smith.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Part of the Problem. I am very excited for this episode. This is going to be a real interesting one. I want to real quick before we start, just want to thank everybody who came out last night to the stand-up show that me and Robbie the Fire did in Brooklyn. Fantastic crowd, a lot of really great people, a lot of Mecox in the building in the New York area, which was cool to see. And don't forget, Saturday we're going to be out in Connecticut, and then of course Pork Fest, Freedom Fest, lots of fun stuff coming up in the future. All right, returning to the show today, we have the great Michael Heiss, founder and chair of the Libertarian Party Mises Caucus.
Okay, it appears that you guys for most of the time are going to be hearing it and not seeing it unless I switch my screen, but that's okay. As long as we can hear it, we're good. I'm not going to be able to see your comments. It's going to be kind of awkward, but we're going to keep switching back and forth. When I switch my screen, you'll see it. When not, you'll see my autumn background, but let's just let it roll.
we wanted to do an episode to talk about some of the things that have been going on in the Libertarian Party more broadly and specifically what's going on in New Hampshire. I just want to start with a few thoughts, and then I'll let you explain some of what's going on here, Michael. At least give our impression of what's happening, because something pretty major happened in New Hampshire. A pretty big deal. I just want to say this, okay? A couple things. Number one, I had an impulse regarding this show that I've had a couple different times in my career, and I've always come to the same conclusion, and so far it's gotten me through, and so I'm going to keep going with this. But I thought to myself, man, maybe I should be strategic about what I say and what I don't say about this. Maybe I should really think through what angle I want to play on this or how I should present.
Okay, I want to stop here just so y'all can get the joke I keep making, because I think I'm the only one who really notices it. But look at the dewy glow that Dave has. He is always so well moisturized. I just don't know how he does it. I never look that well moisturized. Next to Dave, I look like the fucking Sahara Desert. And I'm putting on my primer right now, but way to go with your moisturizer game, Dave. It's fire. Look how chalky and like dusty Michael Heiss looks. That's how I look. Like, I look just like dry and peely. But look at Dave. Like, I don't get it. How do you do it, Dave? Is it the lighting?
It. And then, after having a little bit of an internal battle, I just had this moment, and I've had this several other times in my career where I went, you know what? I'm just going to tell the truth. That's the relationship I have with my audience. That's the relationship that I have with the Mises Caucus and with the Libertarian Party. And that's kind of what I bring to the table. And I even as I am flirting with the idea of venturing into a political run, that's still just what I'm going to bring. I'm just going to tell you how I see things and tell you the truth. And so I'm going to put all the chips out on the table in this episode, and I'm not holding anything back for any strategic reasons. If I get something wrong or more information comes out later, I'll be happy to come back and correct.
Okay, that's one reason why I'm listening to it, because there were a couple things that were a little bit inaccurate, and I did want to correct it, and I wanted to give my spin, because let me tell you how I'm kicking myself. I slept late that day because I've been working on the LP stuff a lot. It's kind of good I'm unemployed right now, because I'd be so distracted it wouldn't be fair to my employer. But Dave actually invited me to be on this program, but I was sleeping when the invitation came, and by the time I woke up, it was, and I want to make sure you guys are hearing me, that it's not muting me during this whole thing. So let me go to the other screen and check, because you could be screaming at me that you don't hear me, and I wouldn't see it. So let me check my sound levels. Nope, you can hear me. Wonderful. Let me look at comments while I did flip. Yes, he definitely is using the moist plugin. It's moisturizer plus lighting. I am just like so jealous. And Damon asked where Dave lives. I don't know. I think it's California. I live in Colorado. Colorado is very, very, very dry. Okay, so let's continue. But damn, that moisturizer game, jelly. But I got better tits. That's a plus.
The record, but I've mentioned several times on this show before, there was when Donald Trump was running to be the Republican nominee in 2016. If you remember, they were they floated out the idea. Reince Priebus and I think at the time it was it might have been whoever else was in leadership in the Republican Party. They floated out the idea of changing the rules at the last minute to require more delegates to cinch the nomination so that Donald Trump couldn't get it. And Donald Trump responded by saying, "There will be riots in the streets." And I remember talking about that on the show and saying, see, the thing with Donald Trump is that he is trying to take a position with a party leadership that's very hostile toward him. And so he can't win by 1 or 2 points or 1 or 2%. He has to flood in so many people that he's won by so much that no matter.
Okay, so what he's describing here is something we're all familiar with, I think. It was the principle in Ender's Game. If you're going to fight the boy, you better make damn sure he don't get up. And that's the battle I think we're in now, metaphorically. Because the entire LP, whether or not you agree with the New Hampshire party, doesn't really matter. This is about principle. And are you going to let the LNC bully an affiliate into compliance? This is absolutely ridiculous. And let me tell you something. Back when JBH was at large, the Nevada party openly at least some leadership on it. I don't want to say the entire party because I don't know if they ever made a resolution. But key members of leadership in the Nevada party for years denied the NAP. And nobody moved to disaffiliate them. And a lot of the people who are saying, I don't really care if procedure is followed, just this New Hampshire people got to go. A lot of them are from that area, and some of them are from Nevada. Shame on you. We didn't do to you what actually, because disaffiliation is so serious, I could have been justified in moving to disaffiliate Nevada, and I never would have done that because I'm like, if the members there want to change the party, let them do it at convention. Keep the LNC out of it.
No matter what they try to pull on him, they can't take it away from him. And in some ways, we're in a similar position in the Libertarian Party with the Mises Caucus. I will say that, I'm just putting this out there on the record in the spirit of telling the truth, me and you on a private phone call, I remember about, I don't know, maybe it was like 6-7 months ago, something like that. And we were talking about some of our plans for the future and talking about, ideas of what would be next for the Mises Caucus. And I remember saying to you, and I go, listen, man, just be prepared because you have no idea the shady things that are going to be pulled if we start doing this and this is successful the way I.
And that was prescient, wasn't it? And even though I can't get Dave's Dewey, I do have here, what's this called? Let's see if we can approximate it. It is Summa Beauty, like liquid chrome illuminating drops. Is that what Dave uses? Maybe she's born with it. Maybe it's Summa Beauty. Okay, continuing.
I know it's going to be. And I remember you said to me, you go, dude, I know. And I know they will do it. I was expecting this whole time. I'm actually kind of thrilled that this is happening because I was expecting a lot of shady things to happen to try to stop us. What we have to do is the equivalent of what Trump did in the Republican Party. We have to flood the zone with so many people and win by so much that there's just no way that they can do it. So I was expecting people to try to change bylaws to keep us out, to try to do whatever they could. I did not expect it to be this soon. I did not expect it to be this sloppy. I'm actually kind of blown.
No one ever expects the Libertarian Inquisition.
Blown away by the stupidity of this move and how obviously what they just handed to us and how much this is going to backfire for them. So for people who don't know, let you set up first, which you did mention on the show before, but why don't we start with what happened in New Hampshire at the last convention?
Well, I'm going to back it up a little bit and go over some good news and crack a little joke here because, you're absolutely right. This is totally sloppy. The great Mobb Deep once said that there's no such thing as halfway crooks, and that is absolutely false. And they are in the establishment of the Libertarian Party. And that's very clear here. But before we get into the bitter stuff that happened, I kind of want to give some sugar first. Sure. And speak to some really great things that happened, because what happened in New Hampshire isn't the only thing that happened this weekend. We did a sweep pretty much of Florida. And we were already very strong in Florida. Florida is a different state than, say, New Hampshire. It's a much more harmonious state. It's a lot more of an integration than anything else. There's not any deep problems. So essentially, there was 18 board votes that people were occupying the spaces in, and we are 13 of them, and like all the others are at least neutral. So 13 of them are either straight up meat hawks or what we call friendlies, people who are aligned with us, but maybe don't want to identify with us. So I kind of count that the same anyway. So, I mean, that's the third largest delegation. Same thing happened in California a few weeks ago. All of the people that we wanted to win state positions in California won. And it was a very, very efficiently run convention, the most efficiently run that they've had in years, to the point where even the old timer was like, wow, we got to platform shit for the first time in like 6 years. This is crazy. Thank you. So that was all.
Oh, wait, I'm going to stop right there. I wasn't there, but it's incorrect that they haven't gotten the platform shit in a while, because I've traumatized some people in California, and I apologize for that, because I assisted in a judicial committee decision where, if you mean by get to it, you mean get to it in a legal way that doesn't violate their bylaws, yeah, you'd be correct. But last convention, they did get to it, and they tried to delete the platform in one vote and then just substitute in the national platform. And that's against their bylaws. They're required to vote plank by plank, and there was a judicial committee appeal, which turned over the deletion. So they did, quote unquote, get to platform in a year prior. And actually that convention I was at the year prior was very, very well run.
Thanks to Angela. And, there's still upcoming conventions. I don't know if people are interested. It might be too late to become delegates to them at this point. But, Greensboro, North Carolina, 6/18 to 6/20, that's coming up. Scott Horton will be there. I believe Angela McArdle will be there. So if you want to see Scott talk or you want to meet Angela, head on over there. Same thing.
I wanted to go to that convention, but at the time couldn't afford it. And then I did some fundraising, but decided not to, because I have LNC work to do, and some of the people who are just petty like to keep a stopwatch on how long it takes me to do minutes, and they lie about it. I can tell you, I mean, when I say how long until I turn them into the LNC, it takes me about 40 hours to prepare a set of LNC minutes. And there's 2 time tracks that you can turn them in, either within 30 days of the next in-person meeting, so that deadline, and then they have to be voted on at the meeting, so that deadline would be August 4th. Or if you do them within 20 days, they can go through an auto approval process. And people don't understand that, and they start acting like if I don't get them for the auto approval process that I was late. No, read the policy manual, learn how to read. Reading is fun, hooked on phonics. There's 2 time tracks, though I normally do get them done within the 20 days. And those of you who were particularly at the Colorado convention, who were trying to ride my ass because I didn't get the last one in the 20 days, though I did get it within the 30 days prior to the meeting. Excuse me if I was going through a major depression and had to get medically treated for it. Excuse me. Some of these people who claim to just be oh so woke and oh so caring about disabilities and illnesses in women. No, you ain't. Hypocrites, Pharisees, whitewashed tombs.
In Michigan, 6/25 to 6/27, unless you're going to Pork Fest. But if you can make it out to Michigan, Justin Amash will be there, Spike Cohen will be there, Angela will be there, and there's some foul actors there that are going to be removed from their seats as well. So kind of wanted to put that good out, because taking Florida is a very, very good thing.
This is, I think it's important.
Okay, it used to make me cringe, some of this language, because I've got a weird soft spot for people, even quote-unquote bad actors, because I see the image of God in everybody. And I used to not like hearing people being targeted, because I know I don't like it when I am. And I still really don't like it, but I'm becoming more comfortable with it, because some bad actors, they do need to go. So good for you guys. We took out some of what I consider the bad actors in Colorado. Well, actually, that is incorrect. in some ways. I think there was bad actors on the board, but that wasn't really the problem with the Colorado board. The problem with the Colorado board is some people who were just really nice people were too influenced by influential bad actors outside the board. Like there were puppet masters behind the scenes. And no matter whatever arguments people may have in Colorado, everyone is still human beings in the image of God. And one of the people that I often had disputes with, I'm very, very, very regretful to say, is in the hospital. Don't want to tear up. 1 minute. Because I'm very fond of these people, even as I fight with them. Had a heart attack. So, give me a second. I'll get back to that.
That you did put all of that out there, and this is maybe what I should be clearer about in saying is that the fact I was surprised that this move came so soon. I thought they would still believe that they could beat us. To me, this was a huge admission, much like in Pennsylvania. It was an admission. It's like, look, if we.
Okay, let me just stop so we can move on. Kevin Goldbranson. So, thoughts and prayers. And I'm going to be using old-fashioned cake mascara. If you guys don't know what cake mascara is, this is what they used to use in the oldie times before there was tube mascara. It's this just cake of black that you mix with, you put water on it, it gets some black, like, inky liquid, and that's what you use for your eyeliner and your mascara. You did not have to have separate eyeliner and mascara. And it used to come in one of these little tins. This is from Be Same Cosmetics. I love their old-timey stuff, and I really do love, I don't use it for mascara. I use it strictly for eyeliner, and I can't find my little brush, but I don't really use the brush. I just use my regular eyeliner brush rather than that little scrubby brush that they give you that goes with it. So I suppose you could use this, a spoolie, as a brush as well. But that's what I'm doing here. And I'm not going to put on eyeshadow. I've been really going for the Amy Winehouse look of just the really heavy black winged eyeliner. Because with my type of eyes I have, which are very hooded and droopy, why not? If I'm going to have fucked up eyes, I might as well just go for the weird, right? Embrace the weird.
Let everybody vote, we are going to lose. So we're going to use this, never used before bylaw to disenfranchise a bunch of the new people. Now, technically...
Okay, I'm going to stop there. We're talking about Pennsylvania. I don't know that bylaw was never used. That's what I'm hearing, but I haven't researched it enough. But you can only disenfranchise people who are supposed to be franchised. That is not the case in Pennsylvania. No one was disenfranchised. You might not like that they invoked that rule, but it played fair and square, and you need to honor that. There was an option to franchise them. It was not a right. When you disenfranchise somebody, you're removing a right from them. They did not have that right under the bylaws. So please stop using this inflammatory language, which is not accurate.
Technically not against the rules. I mean, and fine. That, and this is what I said at the time. I go, I'm not going to bitch about that. This wasn't against the rules. I mean, it's a little, shady. You could argue, but it was following the rules, even though they've never done it this way before. But I just took that as a victory. This is clearly against the rules, and I take it as 10 times the victory. And I think what they're realizing here is that all the stuff that we've talked about is, look, it's bearing out. And the truth is that in 2020 we had control of in the 40s percentage of the party. I mean, what did our chair candidate, Josh Smith, got 40-something% of the vote. Jacob Hornberger, our presidential candidate, won the first round of voting, ultimately ended up getting nudged out by Joe Jorgensen. But since then, our fundraising has gone through the roof. Our membership has gone way up. And we're just going through taking state by state by state. It's getting to a point, I think, that they're realizing what we've been saying for a while, that this is inevitable. This is the future of the Libertarian Party. And again, as I've been really beating the drums for all year long, not that the Mises Caucus exclusively is the future of the Libertarian Party, that the Ron Paul Revolution 2.0 is the future of the party, and that the Mises...
And I would actually disagree with that characterization, though I'm not saying it's exactly false. It's not Ron Paul Revolution 2.0, though that might be what is inspiring a lot of these people. I like Ron Paul, but I never was part of the Ron Paul Revolution. That's not at all what animates me. What animates me is fundamental libertarian principles. What animates me is the early party, way before Ron Paul was ever even a factor. So don't say it's just that. A lot of it might be that, but I think there's also a lot of people like me.
Caucus are inspiring the liberty movement into the party. But so anyway, all of this is last
important run up detail is that as ugly as this is and as bad as it is, you're absolutely right. It's a huge narrative victory, and it's going to be a big motivator. But that's not the only important thing. The other important thing is that this type of behavior is causing rifts in the other sides of the parties, internal rifts. It's not like every member of the Prags or every member of leadership or every member is let's cheat. Like that is not the case. And it is basically forcing the hand of honest, decent people to not pick a side like with us or versus them, but to pick a side with what's true and what's right. And if that happens to put them on the side of us because we're on the receiving end of what's not true and what's not right, then so be it. And so I'm telling you, there is a very much so rising voice in the middle that is done
which is
with all of this.
And I agree, but I do believe it also is driving away some people who see who very, and I'm having my eyes closed because I need to let my eyeliner dry, who were very reluctant joiners of the Libertarian Party because they thought politics were corrupt, and this is just proving it. And again, more whitewashed tombs condemnation to those of you who say, oh, it's people like you who are just being oh so dramatic. Yeah, I'm going to be dramatic about gross power grabs and being silent and polite, which I'm sure is going to be like the campaign themes against me of whoever's running against me. I'm sure it's going to be that I wouldn't be quite so brash. Well, if that's a selling point to you, then vote for my opposition. But I don't think that's a selling point. That's not what I want from my leaders. That's not what I want from my libertarian leaders. What I want is truth and justice. But yes, there are good people in all caucuses that aren't coming to the side of the Mises Caucus. They're coming to the side of truth and justice. There was something, in 2016, I gave the nomination speech for Chuck Moulton for Judicial Committee. Chuck Moulton, even though we're both anarchists, we do not agree on an awful lot of things. But in my nomination speech for him for JC, this is what I said. I said I'm nominating him because I know he will follow the bylaws even when it's against his own self-interest. And those are the type of people with that kind of character. Though I have to say, I was very, very disappointed in Chuck Moulton during the whole Corona thing. And it's going to take a while before I could ever say that of him again. Because I do think he advocated violating our bylaws during 2020. He's still a good friend of mine. And I'm sure he thinks I wanted to murder grandma, whatever it might be. But the type of people that are coming out and speaking out from all over are people who believe in the rights of the members, not in their feels, and that the ends justifies the means because false accusations of Nazi.
Which is what I want this to be, and why I really, really hope. By the way, for people listening who don't know what's going on, we're about to tell you what's going on. I really, really want there to be, and I think there will be, that there's going to be other leaders in the party outside of the Mises Caucus who are going to step up and call this out for what it is. I've been talking to some of them. I think some of them just want to get all of the details, straight before they speak out against it, which I completely understand. But this is not the Mises Caucus versus others in the Libertarian Party. This is two people particularly who acted in a very corrupt manner, who did something that they have no authority to do, and who are going to face the consequences of that, one way or the other, whether through like being removed or through just the losing the support of the party. So let's tell people who are listening what happened in New Hampshire.
Let me start with the backstory. So the backstory is in March, there was a state convention in the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. And this was really the first big blow of the year that the Mises Caucus dealt to the establishment. We did a clean sweep of almost every single board's position in the state party. And they worked with a woman named Gilletta Jarvis and elected her chair, even though she's not Mises Caucus, as a gesture of goodwill, and that's been kind of a tactic that our people have been taking across the country, is to give certain spots to people who are not Mises to say, look, we are absolutely willing to work with you.
It was, for everyone, it was a great night for...
And the other side, the Nazi screamers would never do that for them. Just saying.
For the Mises Caucus, it was a great night for liberty. It was a great night for none of the above. All of them had fantastic showings in New Hampshire.
Now, in the couple of months since then, it's only been 2 months. Their membership is already up 25% just from 2 months ago, let alone what it was in like December when recruiting really started. Their revenue is way up. And here's a crazy figure. Their social media reach and impressions are up by, get this, 10,000%.
Okay, I want to stop because this is supposed to be a commentary, not just me replaying Smith. Plus, I wanted to let you guys see what I'm doing with my eyes. If you don't believe, I have hooded eyes. So it looks right now like I did a perfectly fine wing, right? See what happens when I close my eyes? See that big gap? That's the hood. And now I've got to fill in that, which is why doing the Amy Winehouse, very big, bold, weird eyeliner works for me. I want to go take a look at comments. Oh, before I look at comments, though, I wanted to rebut because some LNC members decided they were going to attack Colorado and lie. Region 3, Region 5 alternates. You think it's your job to be attacking Colorado? Fungu. And lied about what I said. So each stream for a while, I'm going to clarify what I said because this lie keeps getting repeated. I said, and nuanced, that the new board of Colorado was elected with a mandate to change our messaging to be very bold and unapologetic, and in that sense, similar to New Hampshire. Only in that sense. We are going to be much more artful about it. We're going to be probably less unneeded incendiary. There's a certain level that's needed, but there was a lot that was unneeded. We're going to be wiser about it. But the fundamental philosophy of bolder messaging, we are in agreement, and in fact, we're going to outdo it. But instead, these two LNC members who owe the delegates of the state of Colorado an apology insinuated that we are going to be doing racist, insensitive bullshit messaging. And both of you guys ought to be ashamed of yourself. Now let's go take a look at comments. Gives a chance for my eyeliner to dry. Okay, let's see here. Okay, gotta go way back. Woof. And some people gave me... Okay, so Dave lives in... Some people said New York, some people said New Jersey, and everyone seems to now agree. It used to be New York, and now it's New Jersey. Okay. Shout out to Charles Melkin for making Nevada based again. Oh, and if someone could tell me, just because I messed with some settings, this isn't... Listen, if I'm going to beg you for money, I do it outright, so this isn't that. But I messed with some settings. Can you please let me know if Super Chat is still enabled? Because I think I fucked something up. Okay, Elastic Draft says he believes JBH thinks it's a SOP, which is statement of principles, not standard operating procedures violation, not necessarily a NAP, which is non-aggression principle violation. The SOP is the NAP in long form. You can't divide the two. Oh, Timothy, use pink lighting, but then I might look like jaundiced. And AKA Gent says, speaking of Bible verses, wailing and gnashing of teeth, it does come to mind. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, some people thought SOP was standard operating procedures. No, in this case, it means statement of principles. MAC strobe cream is what I want. I will, not yet, because Mama isn't employed right now, so can't afford some Mac products. And we're not talking Mac as a Macintosh. Mac is as some of you may have seen with my foundation. I'm a huge Mac fan, but can't afford that right now. But my address is in show notes on non-live streams if you want to send me some Mac strobe cream. Let's see here. JBH has stated he won't be at the North Carolina convention. Probably a wise move. Yeah, Justin, I want to put this on the screen. I've ranted against the takeover language for over a year now. Now I'm on Team Takeover. I'm not yet on Team Takeover, but I am on Team calling out the fucking hypocrisy. Because, let's save that. Put a pin in O'Donnell's comments because Dave Smith nailed it later. He nailed it. Does the LPMC like Justin Amash again? I think they've always liked Justin Amash. They just liked Hornberger better. And I was totally against Hornberger's attacks against the other candidates. That's what lost him the nomination. I was on Team Hornberger until then. Then I will tell you, I was on Team Jorgensen. And let's continue here. Where's the vote to remove the chair? I'm going to talk about procedure maybe in a different podcast or at the end of this one. Justin, I hope you're all right. I have so much respect for Chuck Moulton. Like, I could tell stories of how ethical I think that man is. I think the COVID thing was an aberration. I can't even express the amount of respect I have for Chuck Moulton. Yeah, a lot of people have forgotten that my perspective is going to be the historical one. So I think this maybe was prompted by my Ron Paul comments. Ron Paul is recent history to me. What inspires me is the 1970s party, not the 1988 and forward. Even though, yeah, there was some great stuff then. But the best of the LP was prior to Ron Paul. Not that he had anything to do with that led to actually having Ron Paul. But some of the messaging of the LP that was the best was the 70s and early 80s. Oh, boot JBH. Thank you for the super chat. I really wasn't trying to, like, in a roundabout way, ask for, I just want, but thank you. I see it's enabled. Thank you so much. I messed up a couple things, and I think also for anyone who's listening on Facebook, I'm pretty sure I messed up my Facebook settings so that Facebook comments, except for one group, are not coming through. So if you said a comment that you thought would get a reaction out of me and I haven't reacted, I'm not seeing it. Best place to be sure I see your comments is to go to YouTube. Because I'm scrolling through here and I'm seeing very few Facebook comments. So I think I did mess up that setting, and I'll try to fix it. But if you want me to see your comment, you're going to need to come to YouTube. Matthew Alistair asks, what year was I first in the Libertarian Party? I am a baby. 2014. September 17th, to be exact. If you ever doubted I had autism, me knowing the exact date should have just proven it to you. Let's go back to the stream.
10,000%. And that matters because that plays a part in the story. So here's what happened. Because of the changes, there's been some changes to the social media messaging. And I'm sure people saw some of it, some of the posts, like the Governors for Gitmo post. That's kind of what started the turmoil. The legalized child labor post and all of this kind of somewhat edgy, borderline shit posting posts that also speak to our principles. And they started getting wide reach. They generated a Fox News article. But again, their follows are way up. Their impressions are way up. So that's kind of what they were going to. But the establishment of the party, not just in New Hampshire, but around the country, was highly incensed and did not appreciate any of this at all. However, she was the minority. We took the rest of the board. And the chair of what's called the Communications Media Relations Committee, was a Mises Caucus person, and the board supported what was going on. So she basically kept trying to get changes done to go back to the way it was before, and nobody was having it. And she couldn't get her way, which appears to have made her and the old guard there extremely frustrated to the point of doing what's happened this weekend. And what happened this weekend is the chair of the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, Joletta Jarvis, released a letter on the website, the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire website, essentially saying that she has created a brand new and filed with the state a brand new organization called the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire, and that they have put up their own board, which is hilariously comprised mostly of people that lost at the actual convention in March. And
that I didn't realize that it was the people who lost. What a slap in the face to the delegates. What makes me even angrier. I'm not going to comment much on the history that he's telling where it's accurate because I've done this multiple times. So I want to comment on new stuff or things I haven't said before.
And in doing so, using her seat as chair, took away access from all of the assets, all of the data to everybody that was actually elected to leadership positions. So they no longer have access to social media. They don't have access to their donor data, their membership data, the Google Drive with any of their general data, the website, everything. Like they took away everything from the actual Libertarian Party, set up a new organization that they're calling the Libertarian Party, transferred that data to themselves, went to a storage locker where they had physical assets that belonged to the party, podiums, audio, video equipment, stole all of that. And to make it worse, in the letter where she outlines all her grievances about how nobody would listen to her in the messaging department, she links a letter signed by Joe Bishop Henchman recognizing her chairmanship of this new organization and the new organization.
Here's where Dave is going to offer some really great commentary that cuts through JBH's bullshit better than I think I have, because I'm like so in the thick of it that I'm starting to get really frustrated. Like, people, it's obvious. What's wrong with you? And sometimes you need to step back and realize it's not quite so obvious maybe to some people, and they still need that little nudge for their eyes to be opened.
Organization itself as the legitimate Libertarian Party of New Hampshire. Now, the problem there is that he has absolutely no authority to do that whatsoever. I'm talking about the chair of the National Party, Joe Bishop Henchman. There has been, I think, one case in like 1999 where the Libertarian Party National disaffiliated a state party, and they can do that, but it can only come with.
Now, that time frame is wrong. 2009. And they didn't actually disaffiliate, which was the problem. But we're going to go over Oregon and another time. Unless he's talking about Arizona. I can't remember what year Arizona was. We did actually disaffiliate Arizona at one point. And the reason for that disaffiliation was because they refused to put our presidential candidate on their ballot line and instead put L. Neil Smith, the science fiction author.
it's probably a 2/3 or 3/4 vote of the state board.
3/4 of the entire LNC. If he's talking about, I don't know, he just said state board, so maybe I'm jumping the gun. But disaffiliation is 3/4 of the entire LNC. Ironically, not at a meeting, which is what removal of an officer should be. It should be the same.
The national board.
Right.
The chair can absolutely not unilaterally say we recognize this rogue organization. And when I say stole, it is stolen. I mean, they are about to lawyer up because when you drill down into what all has been stolen, this is very serious data. People's names, addresses, credit card information that they sent in for donations. All of that kind of stuff is their emails. Like, this is the state and federal criminal territory.
Yeah, it's unbelievably unethical behavior. It seems to be pretty clearly criminal behavior, and above all else, to me, just desperate behavior, like truly desperate. And the justifications for it make absolutely no sense. I mean, the letter that she put out where she's like, well, these people have an alternative agenda that is not for the Libertarian Party. And you're like, well, they were elected by dues-paying members of the Libertarian Party. So clearly their agenda was to get these people in New Hampshire. Now, I just want to be completely clear, and I want to disclaim a bunch of things here that I haven't said publicly before. But again, just spirit of telling the truth and putting all my cards out there, okay? This is the truth. I did not say anything about this publicly because I wanted to handle things behind the scenes. I just felt it was more productive that way. There's a small handful of bad faith actors who are always trying to smear the Mises Caucus. So last thing I want to do is give those people more fuel, but I'd rather just try to correct something if I disagree with that. But this because I've gotten on the phone with you, and I got on the phone with a couple of the people in New Hampshire. I was very upset about the Twitter stuff. I was not happy with it. Now, I did not at the time know these numbers that you're talking about and that their reach and their followers have gone up so much. There's an argument, I suppose, to be made. And now I'm on the other side of the argument. I did not like that stuff. I do not like the shit posting. I do not think that official blue checkmark state party Twitter handles should engage in hyperbole, shit posting, trash talk, any of that stuff. I don't like it. I don't think they should be talking about John McCain, in that way. Yeah. Even though, again, it's not that I disagree with it. I'd love to see Michael Malice tweeting that way.
Okay, I think I fall somewhere in between. I agree with him. I think that John McCain thing was awful, and that the official LP shouldn't have done that. I'd like to have a conversation with Dave about more specifically what he had a problem with, because the borderline shitposty stuff I don't have a problem with. That McCain thing crossed the line, though. So I think I'm somewhere between the outrage mob and Dave's disapproval. I think I'm more where Michael Heiss sits on this.
To see private shitposting accounts, that's fine. It's different. When from my perspective, when you are a blue checkmark official state account, you are tweeting our official positions, nothing else. Do not say, oh, we've changed our position on Gitmo. We want to keep it up. Do we? Is that our new?
Yeah, I agree with him there. I mean, it was quite obviously a joke, but a bad joke. And to me, and it's funny that Dave is making this argument, being a comedian. Yeah, comedians or anyone can joke about anything they want. Just because you can don't mean you should. And I do think there's some things you shouldn't joke about. Unless there's some really overriding reasons, like I said with the Muhammad cartoons. Well, normally, I'm not a big fan of making fun or provoking people's religion. If they're going to threaten to kill your ass, then I think you should. Everybody should be provoking, and you have to speak out against violence. But normally, no, I'm not a fan of that kind of thing.
New position? No, it's not. Our position is close Gitmo yesterday. Our position is close Gitmo before it ever opens. That's our position. So I disagree with that. I made this abundantly clear behind closed doors to people. However, that being said, you simply cannot say, we don't like the way they're tweeting, therefore we're stealing all of these things from people. I'm sorry, that is the most anti-libertarian thing you could imagine, that you will actually violate the non-aggression principle, steal, and defraud. And they not only defrauded the people who were duly elected.
When I heard people, party members, last night at that meeting said because they don't like that messaging that they didn't care about procedure, they were violating our pledge, where you do not advocate the initiation of force to achieve social or political goals. You had better care, or you are the ones who are in violation, not New Hampshire. I was puking in my mouth.
They defrauded the people who elected them. This is anti-democratic in the legitimate sense of democracy, right? So it's not like we think democracy when it comes to the state and the initiation of force is essentially illegitimate, like just because the state's illegitimate. So it's, if two rapists vote on raping a woman and she votes against it and they vote for it, that's illegitimate. Like it doesn't matter. You don't get a vote on initiating force on other people. However, this is a completely voluntary organization where people come in, they pay money to be dues-paying members. They go through all the state protocols to be able to vote in this state election.
Just want to, because Dave's probably not familiar with other states, you have rights whether or not you pay dues, because not all state parties require dues. In Colorado, there's no dues requirement. Just wanted to put that out there. Most states do have dues, but some don't.
And the deal is that for your money, you get to go through this process and have your say for who represents you. That is absolutely defrauding these people to take that away from them. And listen, Joe Bishop Henchman, I have never once taken a public shot at the guy. I don't think. I think maybe on our stream with Karen Ann Harlos, I said, when was the last time you heard him say something brave or something like that? But
that's not a shot. The obvious answer could be construed as a shot.
Yes, sure. But I didn't come into the thing with this guy. Like I had my beef with the former chair who's completely irrelevant now. I don't care about any of that. So I didn't have a problem with this guy, but he inserted himself here in an just outrageously unethical way. And now he's put himself in a very bad position. And I got to say, this is not just something that the Mises Caucus people are saying. I'm talking to other people in the party who are outraged with him. Karen Ann Harlos just did a stream about this. I'm going to link that stream in the comment section.
He didn't link it, by the way. Bad, Dave. Bad.
Well, she was outraged that he evidently met with the other LNC leaders after he signed this letter. The topic of New Hampshire came up, and he did not.
Okay, this is the main reason why I wanted to do this commentary. He misunderstood me. I wish he had linked the stream, because people who listened to it would have gotten it corrected. No, the letter was signed after the LNC meeting, but this whole thing was going on during that weekend, right immediately before. The letter was signed on Monday. The LNC meeting was over the weekend. Don't want to get into that whole thing. I do that on my 2-hour stream that I did while I was in Florida, but I wanted to correct the record here because this is really not correct. But I can't expect anyone who's not living it intimately to remember the whole chronology.
Mention this to them. He deceived the entire national committee about what was going on here to do something he has no authority to do. All right, guys, let's take a quick minute. I want to thank our brand new sponsor, which already made a big splash after the first ad read. Splash, no pun intended. The new sponsor is fucking Good Soap. Yeah, you heard me right. Fucking Good Soap. Look, everyone's talking about supporting local.
Is that why he looks so moisturized? And I'm letting his ads run because why not? Might as well give him some if he can get some ad, like whatever referrals he gets here. And plus, it's a pain in the ass to try to fast forward because I'm working on my makeup. So now you guys can see it's a completely different look now, isn't it? With it does with your eyes, with hooded eyes when you finally, contour them properly. It will be even better when I put on some lashes. I haven't been able to find Moxie Lash had put out this weird, like, it's a glue, but like not a glue. I don't even know how to describe it. And I haven't been able to find more of these. They just stick to the magnetic things now, and I'm becoming less of a fan of the magnetic lashes.
Local and small businesses right now, and trust me when I tell you, this is one you want to support. Fucking Good Soap launched in 2018 in Portland, Oregon. They sent me a bunch of bars, and it's legitimately some fucking good soap. They are not lying. It's really great. The soap comes in a variety of fantastic scents like espresso, cucumber melon, cherry almond, and their super popular Man Bar that's the perfect mix of mahogany and musk. It'll make your partner think they're finally dating a lumberjack. But seriously, let's face it, we're all getting ready for the summer after the pandemic. Maybe you've been alone all year and you're finally getting ready to go out on your first post-pandemic date. The last thing you want to do is show up smelling. So go smell like a dude. You had the whole year to get it together. You need some fucking good soap. Not only does the soap smell great, it's super soft, smooth. The bars just look really cool. They really do. It's the coolest looking soap I've ever seen. Everything's affordable too. The bars of soap start at $7. Plus, each one is handcrafted and made entirely out of natural and organic ingredients. So if you want a super affordable way to support the show while supporting a small business, while also just smelling good, go check out Fucking Good Soap. FuckingGoodSoap.com. I dare you to try to forget that one. FuckingGoodSoap.com. The promo code is POTP. It'll get you 10% off.
Okay, Fucking Good Soap. I think you need to take me on. Like, you know, I'd love to be one to have you as a sponsor, man. That sounds pretty fantastic. And I'd love for my husband to smell like a lumberjack. And some of those other scents sound like, I don't want to smell like a lumberjack, but some of those other scents sounds like I'd be really into. Okay, I'm just putting on this false eyelash. But anyone got a connection there with Fucking Good Soap? Come on. I say fuck more than Dave.
Your order. Seriously, check these guys out. They're not made of money, so that they're taking a shot by sponsoring the show. We really appreciate their support.
Hey, I'm probably a lot cheaper than Dave. Just joking. No, not really.
Especially since their products are incredible. Fucking Good Soap. Promo code POTP for 10% off your order. All right, let's get back into the show. Look, man, this is like some... I really am blown away by how idiotic this move is. I thought they would have like some tricks up their sleeve. I'm like waiting for something to happen. Like, you guys have to have something better than this, right?
And there's a lot of details that make it worse than what I already said. Like there's a lot more fishiness. And as far as Joe Bishop Henchman, you know, we had agreed that we would give him, you know, the benefit of the doubt when he was elected. We would give him a fair shake, even though I already knew he didn't like us and everything. But we had to give him a fair shake. And frankly, this is just the culmination of a bunch of bullshit behavior that he has been doing from behind the scenes. You know, I think his general strategy, whereas Nick was, I hate to even use the word strength here, but like he had a strength of personality enough to go out there and say whatever he thought, as crazy as it was. And that acted as a fuel to our fire. And I think Joe thought that if he just kind of stopped that he could starve that fire.
No, Heiss has it right on here. Like him, hate him, doesn't matter. Nick has a presence and a charisma. That's what allows him to control a room of delegates. A Libertarian. Very, very difficult. I'm wondering, you guys, should I do the wig action today? Like, should I put on like a long, really fake-looking wig? I'm kind of thinking maybe I should. But all those supplies are downstairs. So, I don't know. You let me know. Oh, I'm sticking. Because I didn't let it dry and I opened my eyes. Okay, but let's continue.
And
that
do
was
things
probably a smarter move on his part.
But it's clearly not true.
This was not.
Well, it was clearly not true, and he has been doing things from behind the scenes. Like there's been several occasions now where he has declared people that he wants to win state chairs races, activist of the month, for example. You know, he's
Whoa, I did not even pick up on that. That is uncool. I'm going to need to look into that.
the one who made the call to stop the affiliate program where like there's affiliate links for people like you, people like Tom, people like Maj.
Well, there was never an affiliate link for me. There's in this crazy coincidence. That's just just happens to be purely by circumstance. The day after I was approved for an affiliate link and sent in the paperwork, or the day after they approved me and then requested the paperwork, the whole affiliate program got canceled because they did not want it to be public knowledge how many people I was bringing into the party.
I didn't believe that at the time. But now with the way JBH has come out openly attacking New Hampshire and Mises people and claiming they support a vision of a party that he doesn't want to be a part of, I don't believe, I gave it all the benefit of the doubt, but I now believe it was deliberate. And I think anyone who doesn't is a fool. Sometimes it takes me a while. But once I see it, I see it.
Right.
Or I'm just speculating. I mean, it could just be a coincidence.
And again, I talked to staffers, and that was all predicated on, well, it's costing us more money than we're raising, which is absurd. And, the staff was all in favor of the program. They were, and the only reason they canceled that is because we were the only people utilizing it. Because frankly, we're the only people that really have, I would argue, that the strong recruiters in the party. We have, your help and Tom's help and Maj's help. We have a lot of people who are coming in that have large audiences, and it would just help bolster us, and they knew that, so they did that. Another thing that he's been doing is there's a seeming pattern of him pulling out of speaking engagements at state conventions once it looks like we're set to do very well at those state conventions. And so
I'd like to see the data on that. I haven't been paying much attention. I'm not saying it's not true, but I am not saying that's true either. I'd be very interested in seeing that. So my Be Same lipstick, I'm going to go to comments in a minute. There's a particular, and yes, I am drinking early. I've earned it.
So there's all of this kind of thing. And so the first thing he did is he went on, I don't know if you know this, this is one of the links I sent you, but there is a public listserv that the LNC posts to when they are conducting business, and it's all publicly viewable. So that's where this is all, at least as far as the LNC is concerned, is all fleshing out right now.
Yeah, I did read through that.
And Oliver Hall was trying to, under the guise of giving us legal advice on the situation at hand, was trying to give his opinion that perhaps it shouldn't be all public over my dead body.
So yeah, so he
That's
posted
like the email chain with Josh and Karen and all them on it. Yeah,
yes.
I did read through that.
And so Joe had made a post on there saying that that there was a different cause for this whole action. And then what that cause was, there's a woman named Jackie Perry who had her membership removed from the state party of New Hampshire recently. And that happened on the 8th. Well, the letter that he signed was dated the 7th. And so they're making this excuse. And now Jackie Perry, I don't think there's hardly anybody that would agree or that would disagree with her being removed. She is
You're wrong. I disagree. I don't believe in expelling people from the party. It's just me. I think it's a snake that comes to bite you in the ass. So please be very careful with your universals. And Jackie is conducting a real bullshit thing where she's distributing a blank email template of mine asking people to make up the most outrageous, hateful things and make it look like I said it. But even so, I don't agree with expelling people. That's me. But in looking at the documentation, in my opinion, though I haven't seen all the documentation, there's a certain process under Roberts for expulsion, and I don't think that was followed for Jackie. That is completely irrelevant to this situation here, but I just wanted to get that out there in the interest of fairness.
exceptionally toxic and hateful person. But even she is they're trying to use me as a pawn. I had nothing to do with this. You know what I mean? And the dates of it show that is not the case. There's a bunch of claims that Gilletta Jarvis, the chair, makes that justify this that are just blatantly false. So for example, and Karen Ann has pointed this out, They said that the Mises Caucus and the new leadership that was from the Mises Caucus didn't intend to run candidates, and we intended to support Republicans, and we were turning the party into a proxy. And their whole justification for this is one member who has been around for 13 years, is not a Mises Caucus member, put one post into the New Hampshire Libertarian Party Facebook group just as a conversation piece, saying, hey, I don't know the name of the guy, but hey, there's a guy who might be running for governor who's like a Rothbardian. He has an exceptionally good track record in the state party here. Just, again, a little bit of backstory. The Republican Party in New Hampshire is not bad. Like a Roth.
Okay, I get into this whole thing of the argument on this point in other streams, so I'm not going to do that here. I am just going to mention, though, that this ties back to what was my biblical rant earlier, where I brought to the attention of the LNC of other, I don't want to say who it is, just that there are other people who are allegedly openly supporting a Republican candidate. This is not unusual. People in their private capacities are allowed to do that, and you don't have to like it. I'm not saying even that the people here were doing that. I'm just saying is that there's very selective outrage. Very selective outrage. Because somebody very handpicked and close to JBH is supporting a Republican candidate.
Rothbardian is the Speaker of the House.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit of a different dynamic there. And so one of these very, very good Liberty Republicans, I guess, is considering running for governor, and this person just brought up as a conversation piece, well, what if we just, didn't run anybody for governor, and if we're going to do the ballot access thing, maybe we run somebody for Senate, or so, a different state level race.
So, by the way, a common sense approach, which is also taken by one Justin Amash, who said as much in Florida recently. It's really. It's quite funny. I mean, look, this whole thing is freaking hilarious. And I know, I don't mean to, I know there are some people in New Hampshire right now who are in a state of limbo, who are very upset about this. And I don't mean to downplay them. You guys were duly elected. You are the legitimate party. I'm very confident this whole thing is going to get straightened out, and they're going to be back in control, because it's just that this is hilarious. Joe Bishop Henchman here tried to do something that is, I certainly think, illegal, absolutely unethical, and absolutely not within his authority to do. He's going to fall flat on his face here, and this is going to look very bad. But what's funny is this idea that, one guy once said that we shouldn't challenge a Republican in these certain circumstances, therefore they're working for the Republicans. Meanwhile, we literally, in 2016, ran a candidate that endorsed Hillary Clinton at the last moment, threw the Libertarian Party under the bus, and said, vote for Hillary Clinton. It's just all so hilarious.
This whole thing is a narrative that is thrown at us a lot, is that, the Mises Caucus is just a bunch of Republicans. And yet what's funny is there is a group of people that ran Bob Barr. There is a group of people that ran Gary Johnson and Bill Weld. There is a group of people that tried to get Lincoln Chafee and Judge Jim Gray, and like all these people nominated here in 2020, and it's not us. You know what I mean? We've only been around for one presidential cycle. We supported Hornberger.
Ran Jacob Hornberger,
who is literally, and this is like a quote saying, conservatism is an evil ideology. You know what I mean?
Jacob Hornberger, the guy we ran, his biggest.
Okay, I'm going to go to comments now, because it's been a while, and the comment I really am waiting for hasn't come up yet. But what do you think of my little Hello Kitty box? Love it. Because I think I am going to do the long hair wig action later. So I'm trying to pull out a wig cap. But I got to find my wig supplies. We might be taking a break midstream so I can go get my wig supplies. But which I don't know where my luggage is, but let's go to comments here a minute. And you guys are troopers for sticking with me. Okay, so let's go back to where I left off. And all I see is YouTube comments. So if you are watching on Facebook, I messed up my Facebook settings. You need to go to YouTube. This shirt is riding up. Plus, I got to show up for my cleavage, right? Shake your moneymaker. Okay. Found where it said MAC strobe cream. Do Kiss makeup. I don't know what Kiss makeup is. John Waldenberger says I'm 100% right about PA. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh, I see. Now let me move. Party historian. Okay, now I see where I am at, where Super Chat was enabled. Okay. Hornberger turned off a lot of people during his one debate with Amash. It wasn't just that. There were multiple, but I know what you're talking about. He lost me. I was on Team Hornberger, and I love Jacob. I hope he doesn't make that mistake again in the future. And Nicole on the makeup thing. It's expensive, the Be Same, but let me tell you, it's high quality makeup. If you didn't know, it's not just the gimmick. Because there is a gimmick of it being, World War I, World War II era. It's high quality. I love everything I've gotten from them. It's worth it. FYI. And hey, Be Same, if you want to sponsor me. I'm wearing, what am I wearing? I think it's Victory Red. Yeah, Victory Red. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. I'm going through. Just FYI, Corey, I'm not trying to embarrass you, but the word is Milquetoast, which is Miquetost. I know if you haven't seen it in writing, it sounds like it would be milk toast, like look, milk, but it's not. And I don't want the moderates to make fun of you for that. So I'd rather you get corrected by a friendly person than a hostile person. And Brian Shields, the deposed, the outgoing chair, because I don't think he ran against Gilletta, so he wouldn't be deposed, is an officer of the new group. It's ridiculous. It's so fucking corrupt. Oh, and speaking of corruption, there are people getting on my case. I got an email. I'm not going to name names. If he's watching this, he'll know. Go, you shouldn't say this. You shouldn't say that. You're open the LNC to legal liability. Oh, so I should cover up when we've done wrong? No. If we fucked up legally, then we fucked up legally. And I'm not going to cover it up. That's not... I have a fiduciary duty to the party, but I have a higher duty to liberty and truth and God. Braden, I will be doing a quick course on Oregon with some people, probably the current state chair of Oregon, in a future stream. Yep, Jaden. Just worry about LPNE. Just know that I'm here to protect LPNE like I'm here to protect every single affiliate. Even affiliates that do messaging that I don't like. Because I protected Nevada by not bringing a motion to disaffiliate them, even though I did have justification. Southern Northeast says his data was seized. Who should he be contacting in a legal sense? I absolutely cannot advise you in that way. If you do have a personal attorney, you would want to talk to your personal attorney, or perhaps the legitimate affiliate in New Hampshire. I apologize, but in that sense, I can't interfere. I have opinions, but I can't interfere. Oh, I love this. Bastiat's Law says, I just love that the Libertarian Party has a national secretary with pink hair quoting scripture. Perfectly sums up the beautiful chaos that is being a libertarian. Can I add to that? How about that the Libertarian Party has a national secretary who cusses more than a sailor, who loves to show off her double D cleavage with pink hair, quoting scripture. I think that makes it even better. Here, poor form from an official account, absolutely. 100% truth, though, also absolutely. I agree. The truth part, the LPCO is intending upon keeping. The poor form, we are not. I'm still demanding an apology from that Region 3 alternate and the Region 5 alternate for insinuating that the delegates at the convention in Colorado gave a mandate for racism, and I am asking the state chairs of Region 3 and Region 5 to rebuke their alternates. Okay. I'm getting towards the end here. Thank you, Austin Who. I don't know who you are, but I love you too. And he says he's new here later on. Great. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Lunatic Fringe. And yes, for all you can hate Sarwark all you want, but he is an amazing chair of a convention, and watching him is an art form. Hello, chat. Would rather you stayed with us and declared what is true than go downstairs for a wig. Yeah, but I need to get my... This is doing two killing... I don't want my birds to hear this, so... Birds, don't listen. This is killing two birds, and I have two birds. Killing two birds with one stone, where I'm doing my commentary and getting ready, because I'm going to be on Aquarian Anarchy tonight. So we might take a 2-minute break in the middle so I could get my wig supplies. My wigs are actually here behind me, behind the screen, and up here I've got all my wigs. But I need my glue. There's a glue. If you don't know, a lot of people who don't hang around a lot of African American women don't know. There's a whole process to putting on a wig. You just don't put it on. It's actually glued on. It's interesting. So far, a lot of you, I'm not disregarding your comments. It's just a lot. I'm trying to be selective, but if you think I passed up something I should have highlighted, please just say it again and try to get my attention, because I'm not doing that on purpose. Like, I'm not trying to disregard anyone. And I hope everyone sees that I really kind of do give priority to my detractors and try to always, at least deal with some of them. And, because this is the only place my detractors can really interact with me, because I blocked them on Facebook, because Facebook is more intimate and I really reveal a lot of details about my personal life there. And I have to see the sticker. I've never seen this before, but it describes it. Hippo character with stars growing in his eyes, pumping his arms in the air with the word hype pulsating above him. It's funny the way Restream gives me a visual, but I'm going to need to go to the live stream and see what that looks like. And that's a badass profile picture, Nick W. I love it. And Richard Brown says, my YouTube feed was not working at first. I apologize for that. I don't know why. I am still really much learning here. Lion Paul says, greetings from Germany. Can you please elaborate on sexism in the party and politics in general? There's 2 prior videos I did on this. I would refer you to, because I have, but I'll probably do more in the future. One of them is called, and it was just about 2 weeks ago, The LP Needs to Hear a Who, H-O-W. And I brought it up again to the national chair at JBH 2 days ago, and he has ignored again my assault in 2016 at the Libertarian Party convention. That's just par for course. And also the first episode of Political Woman blogging or vlogging deals with soft sexism in politics. Kyle Pierce asks, is there any merit to the accusation that the duly elected EC neglected to send meeting info to committee members with the intent on removing them from those committees? I've never heard that accusation. I will look into it, I promise you. But just an FYI, the EC is not responsible for, in general, I don't know what their bylaws say. I'm giving you just General Roberts now. Oh, that's funny. I meant General RONR info, but RONR was written by a general called Roberts, but I'm just giving you general parliamentary info. The responsibility for sending meeting information falls to the chair of committees, not to the executive committee. It could be different in New Hampshire depending upon their standing rules or bylaws, but I'll look into that for you, Kyle. And I'm sure there's some people from the EC of New Hampshire here. Maybe Nolan is here. If you can get with me privately on that, and then I can report back. I would love to hear your side of the story. Thank you. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, I believe this is a shame. I believe in the CRM project, but there's going to need to be a new agreement. Colorado, I think, is going to demand a new agreement or pull from the CRM because this is outrageous. And I hate to say this, but I'm wondering because, listen, our chair, JBH, has been completely disrespectful to the vice chair this entire term. It's really been embarrassing and humiliating. And I haven't said anything, but my heart, well, I've said a little bit, but my heart has ached for Ken Moulman to see him publicly humiliated in the way he has been. And the CRM is near and dear to Ken Moulman's heart. And now I'm beginning to wonder if the intent isn't to kill the CRM. Just like, I'm going to say it. This is my stream. I can say what I want. Region 8, Tucker Coburn came after me to try to torpedo or sabotage the historical project because he's Nick Sarwark's cat's paw, and Nick Sarwark has declared revenge against me, and he knows what's important to me is the historical project, and that's why Region 8 representative is going after me. This is all pathetic bullshit. And yeah, Richard Brown, I will never, ever deny that Nick Sarwark is the best presiding officer I have ever seen. Ever. He's fantastic. And those of you who would deny that, your bias is getting in the way. Or you just don't know what the fuck you're talking about. You have 6 parrots? You have 6 parrots? Are you insane? I have 2 and 2, and 2's enough. Oh my God, I've got an African gray and a severe macaw, and my husband calls the severe macaw the green fucker. I'm like, don't say that. He can hear you. I'm really funny with my pets. Wayne just thinks it's crazy because I say please and thank you, and I make requests to them very politely. But I think you need to be polite to your pets. I say thank you to my dogs all the time. Oh, Kyle says, I must have missed that. That kind of rings a bell. That was just such a drinking from the fire hose night. It was really hard to get a handle on what was going on there. But I'll find out. Okay. Kyle Ambrose, there isn't anything brief because it's not brief. I have multiple videos on this, live streams, but I'm not going to pretend they're brief. But I don't think this information can be summarized very briefly and be fair. Maybe somebody else disagrees and they can refer him to something. This Dave Smith episode actually does a decent job at it. Okay. Chris, since the LNC has piss poor customer service in regards to the CRM system, several states are planning on leaving. I urge restraint. Let us try to fix this. But I don't blame you, but I'm asking for restraint. There are some of us who are really trying to work this out. Okay, let's go back to the stream.
Criticism of the LP was that we were too similar to the Republicans. And this is what drove him crazy.
What sank one of the things that I think sank his ability to win was how much he attacked Justin Amash as being a Republican.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, it's just funny. It just speaks to the desperation that you're talking about. But so she claimed that. She also claimed that there was threats of violence against her, and there's been no substantiation of that. There's been no screenshots, no nothing, no police reports. And in fact, the judicial committee which is essentially the court system of the state party, The Judicial Committee of New Hampshire has now put out a statement saying we were never made aware of any of these claims of threats of violence. Another claim that was made is that the Mises Caucus was just starting with Jackie Perry, and heads were going to roll. It was going to be the French Revolution. Everybody who was not Mises is going to be axed from the party, and this is completely not true. Like what caused
the French Revolution. That's pretty funny. I didn't catch that the first time around. And yeah, I'm getting ready for wig action. I might not do it on stream, but I'm at least going to start melting down, it's called, or just freezing in place the wig cap while I'm listening here. So that's what I'm getting ready.
The irony of it is what caused Jackie Perry to have her membership removed was she publicly put out Gilletta Jarvis, the chair's phone number, her work email, her work contact information. And so the people on the board were protecting Gilletta Jarvis from Jackie Perry by getting rid of her membership, only for Gilletta Jarvis to then go and create this new organization and have that cited. You know what I mean? And again, she was the chair of the meeting where that expulsion happened. She didn't object. She did not recognize the motion to do such. She didn't take it to the Judicial Committee. So and that's another thing so that's obviously a bunk excuse. And then the other excuse was,
can I just say one more time, because I've made this point so many times before, but it is like with the, even though I have no, I guess, technical authority within the Mises Caucus, I certainly have a good amount of influence.
Okay, this whole procedure I'm doing here with the hair thing, most of my audience, I think, is probably Caucasian. This is going to be completely foreign to you. This is total, black girl procedure, so you're learning something new.
And, one of the figures, that is very supported by the Mises Caucus, and I'm a member of it, there will be no purges of any members under that simply will not happen as long as I'm around and as long as you're around. What we've said before is that, look, if we get all of the people that we want in control of the party, which we want because we think that's the best thing to achieve liberty, that's the reason we want it, then the people who call us Nazis all day will probably have no other option than to leave, because would you really want to be in a movement that's being led by people who you consider Nazis? But that's all we've said. I don't even want to remove those people from the party. I mean, if they're I don't want them to be in control of it for sure, but I don't care. I don't care who would want to come and vote for us, support us, be in the back. But this idea that we were going to start purging people is ridiculous. It's based on no truth. Absolutely not.
In fact, once I heard that, I went to all of my people there and was like, this isn't true. This is going to undermine everything. This is crazy. Right. And they were like, of course not. So again, that's just hearsay. So that was a bunk excuse. Then came the tweets, which I think is the actual cause of all of this. Mm-hmm. And even then, what they don't know is that I was on the phone with the person who was responsible for those tweets Saturday morning. And I was getting the concessions, I went to him and said, look, man, I know this is probably annoying to you, but I've got a lot of organizers that I have to answer to. They are kind of divided on this and,
Okay. And I know this is true because before this whole thing went down, Michael Heiss told me he was doing this. And this was pretty common knowledge in New Hampshire. I believe Gilletta Jarvis knew this. So they knew this whole situation with the tweets was about to be resolved on Saturday, right before that letter. I'm sorry, I went back by accident. I'm going to try to figure out where we were at. Sorry about that.
Once I heard that, I went to all of my people there and was like, this isn't true. This is going to undermine everything. This is crazy. Right. And they were like, of course not. So again, that's just hearsay. So that was a bunk excuse. Then came the tweets, which I think is the actual cause of all of this. Mm-hmm. And even then, what they don't know is that I was on the phone with the person who was responsible for those tweets Saturday morning, and I was getting the concessions. I went to him and said, look, man, I know I know this is probably annoying to you, but like I've got a lot of organizers that I have to answer to. They are kind of divided on this. And, our people have worked very hard to be in a position to put you in that position in the first place. And, and I got the concessions, but nobody cared about that, and again, like you said, not liking some tweets is not an excuse to steal all of the property of the party. And that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. And
can I say, I really, listen, my initial response to this was that I publicly invited Joe Bishop Henchman on the show. And he never responded to that. And, okay, fine, he doesn't have to. I'd say I think the biggest platform in this space. I think it would make sense for him to come on and clear the air and explain what's happening here. But the thing that was really what I found troubling and revealing in that email that he sent out, which he made public for anyone to see, is that he doesn't address the obvious thing to address. Right. He kind of says, he's like, well, you know what? I mean, there's this other organization.
Okay, this is the part I was waiting for. I believe this is where, and I've just, got the wig cap in place, but I believe this is the place where Dave really says something that I completely agree with. And even though I can't glue down my wig right now because the glue is downstairs, I could at least go get it and place it into place while we're listening. So you might see me disappear out of frame for a minute, but let's just let this play.
And it seems like there's been accusations of some things made, so we're going to kind of have to sit and wait and see what happens. And it's like, look, here is the obvious question that everyone wants to know. Did you mean in that letter what this lady is claiming you meant, that you're giving her the authority to go start another Libertarian party that is now the official state Libertarian affiliate? And two, by what authority can you do that?
Correct.
That's it. These are the very simple questions that he needs to answer. So
that is a big deal. And another thing that he had in that email is he said that there's evidence that they're Republican plants. Never published that evidence. So this is completely arbitrary, completely unilateral. But you're absolutely right. That is the big takeaway. And in my opinion, there's two takeaways, because I think what the outcome of this is going to be is things will be made right in New Hampshire. But I think the wider implications of what happened here is going to be attempted to be swept under the rug, because Jarvis was actually set to resign as chair. She was just done with all of this. Now, let me back up. So Karen Ann Harlos really deserves a shout out here, because she is a badass. She was acting from early morning as the parliamentarian of the Florida Libertarian Party convention. And in about the last half hour of that meeting, she started catching wind of this. The LNC members, and in a way, thank God this happened this weekend, because I was in Florida. A whole bunch of LNC members were in Florida. They didn't know about any of this until I told them. I got a text from one of my New Hampshire people saying this can't possibly be legal, right? And so I'm like, we have an emergency, and maybe a quarter or a third of the LNC was there and all agreed, yeah, this is wild. And so she got to work, and the first thing that she did that night was she held some unofficial interviews. One with the New Hampshire crew, which I was on, the actual Libertarian Party Executive Committee, and then she did one with Gilletta Jarvis. And in my opinion, those two videos are the most compelling thing to watch in this whole thing, because Jarvis admitted a lot. And that brings me back to, she was set to resign. And somebody who she refused to name said, there's another way, we can do this. And basically goaded her into what looks like a criminal conspiracy. And she won't say who it is. And then she had obtained.
Okay, that wasn't the comment yet. It's still coming. You see, it's almost Jeffree Star-ish, isn't it? But if you guys want to know where wigs end up getting glued down, it would be, you see right here, these flaps. These get glued down with wig glue. And you got to kind of, I might need to trim this wig a little bit more, because it's not letting my ear get entirely through, so it becomes difficult to put glasses on. You might notice when I'm wearing wigs, sometimes I'll put the glasses just on over it, because it's difficult. Here where it's not glued, it's easy to put the glasses on, but it gets difficult. But yeah, also on this side, right now there's little clips keeping it in place, but it needs to, this hole, so you don't get your wig snatched to like some black girls do in a fight. But otherwise, yeah, it's on pretty good though, actually. So what do you think? All right, let's continue.
In the letter from Joe Henchman. So we don't know who did that, who all worked with her, if those people were connected to Henchman. But the important thing is in the video, because there was some uncertainty as to what the nature of that video, or I'm sorry, that not the video, sorry, the letter that Joe signed was. Some people were speculating, well, oh no, this is standard stuff, you know, he has to recognize the chair, so it's just, you know, of the party, and she was elected as the chair of the party, and it's just that. But no, she is asked and point blank says that he knew exactly what it was for and was supporting her in this action. She also said,
and if she, and just to be clear about this, if she were lying about that, right? If she has a letter from Joe Bishop Henchman and he didn't mean it in that way, and he was just saying, no, you're the chair of the party, but the real party, not this new party that you've created, and she's using his letter to say that, in his follow-up email, you would assume.
Okay, this is what I was waiting for. And I got you see a knot in this wig here. This isn't real human hair, so it can get knotted very easily. Real human hair wigs are very, very expensive. This isn't coming out. I just need to cut it out. But here's where Dave nails it. Nails it. Nails it.
Assume he would have to make that point. Like, how would you possibly send another email if that were the situation and not go, yeah, no, I did not authorize any of this. I don't have the authority to authorize any of this. So the fact that he didn't kind of, I mean, beyond a reasonable doubt proves that that's exactly what's going on here, because it's too inconceivable that someone would claim, like, you know, like if I signed a letter, you know, to like Rob Bernstein and said, like, you know, this entitles you, the podcast that you are on is officially part of the problem. And then he goes, hey, I'm starting this new podcast and this is part of the problem now. And look, I have this letter from Dave. But that wasn't at all what I meant by it. I did not give him authority to do this. And then I sent out an email. I wouldn't be like, well, Rob's claiming one thing, some other people are claiming another thing. We'll have to sit back and see what happens.
Exactly. This is a controversy. There's no controversy. Who is the legitimate affiliate? It's a controversy of the chair's own making that he's trying to use as an excuse to then have some kind of investigation. It's absolutely bullshit. And what he just said right there, the way he worded that argument, that is the grounds for the chair's removal.
I think I would just be like, no, Rob, you'll have a sandwich.
Another thing that she said is that she had consulted with the Region 8 representative, which is a guy named Tucker Coburn, and Tucker Coburn was the lone no vote on having Tom Woods at the convention. and he is a known Mises Caucus hater. So it raises question on whether the Region 8 representative was involved in this. There's another LNC member that resides in
I don't know if Tucker was involved. And my mic might have just picked up like double there. I apologize because I wasn't hitting mute because I didn't have my headset on. I'm going to put my headset back on so that doesn't happen again and I won't have to keep hitting mute and unmute. But she says she consulted with him over this whole thing. He's been kind of silent on it. So I don't know. I do not know what is truth or, you know, misunderstanding or lie there. Okay, so now that I got my headset, let's go back. I'm going to go to comments again in a minute.
In New Hampshire. We have no idea where they are on this. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. But that video that Karen Ann and some of the LNC members made with her was extremely damning. That's where the discrepancy in, oh, well, it was about Jackie Perry being expelled. Well, it was signed on the 7th. That's where that came from. And like what was the funniest part of that whole video was it really seemed like Jarvis didn't realize what she was copping to until she was about halfway through copping to it. Like Karen Ann was like, all right, so hypothetically, if the national convention was tomorrow, which organization is sending delegates? And she's kind of like, I guess mine. It would be mine. But yeah, and I don't.
Okay, and this isn't strictly academic. Come October, which is coming up sooner than you think, I have to send out delegate allocations. This is not strictly academic.
I don't think it's hit her the seriousness of like credit card data. That's not good. Like donor data, it has been stolen, and for all you know, whoever has it might have copied it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and so that is a serious situation that is not being properly addressed by the LNC. And if you read that LNC email list, it is disgusting.
And some people will be with him going, oh yeah, it's disgusting because some people are indecorous. You whitewash tombs. That's all I can say. That's what you're concerned about? That's what you're concerned about?
The absolute casualness with which this is being approached, and people are clearly, not all of them, but some people are clearly more worried about making sure that Joe Bishop Henchman looks good in all of this, and we're not casting aspersions on Joe Bishop Henchman, and all of that, and it's clearly factional, and that is disgusting. That needs to be pushed back on, because again, the move here is going to be, well, we'll restore New Hampshire and we're good.
Yeah.
Okay, that is exactly right. I mean, my first goal is to make New Hampshire whole, but the second goal is that there needs to be accountability for this. But I think that once the New Hampshire's made whole situation is done, everyone's going to want to sweep this under the rug. And that's a shame. But strength of political will has never existed on the LNC. I mean, that's probably the nature of all boards, state boards included. So if you're expecting there to be justice as far as the chair's bad actions, you're probably going to be disappointed. That doesn't mean I probably won't ask for it, even if I don't have the votes. I can't predict the future, so I have to see how things go. I see that Joshua Smith is working on a motion to censure. I think motions to censures are absolutely useless unless they are followed by a resolution asking the chair to resign.
I'm sorry, listen, even to people out there who are like critics of the Mises Caucus, and if you don't like our messaging, or you don't like the way we do it, or you don't like anything else about us, that is fine. We can save those conversations for another time. This is very clear cut. What is the argument that they had the authority to do this? And if it's just so obvious what we're looking at here.
Let me give you the authority. Nazi lies.
Was a coup attempt of a state affiliate party. And to any member who's a leader, I mean, if you can't stand up to that, you are not fit to be in leadership. Now, to their credit, a lot of people, look, Karen Ann Harlos has just been truly has integrity and has demonstrated that throughout this whole thing. And again, she's not Mises Caucus, and she has been critical of us in the past. She's been critical of me in the past on several different counts, and I think that's fine. I think she has every right. I think she actually might have been right about some of her criticisms of us, and I think she was wrong about others. But
she made sure to yell at me and say, "Damn it, Mike, this is the result of the takeover language," and I'm like, "That's your
fact check." True. I did. I kind of lost my shit on Michael in Florida. Like I said, I'm going to say this once. I'm not going to say it again. And I was yelling. Stephen Nicola was there. He'll tell you. So those of you who say, oh, and by the way, that's what the den mother joke is. For all of you who keep wanting to misinterpret it to say that I'm some kind of protector of the Mises Caucus. No, what I mean by den mother is I'm the older woman who will take off her shoe and go, James Michael Brown, you get your ass over here, and beat him over the head for bad behavior.
Your fault, Dave. You know what I mean?
All right, guys, let's take a moment and thank our sponsor for today's show, which is Fume. Fume is the natural inhaler that makes it easy to get the benefits of super plants on the go. Here's how simple it is. Fume is a Canadian-made wooden inhaler with no electronics. They have cores filled only with the benefits of superplants.
I'm letting his ads go through. I'm going to go over to the chat in a minute. I'm just cleaning up my area a bit while his ad's going.
So no chemicals added. Fume is a natural and portable tool for allergy relief, relaxation, and it's a great nicotine replacement tool. Plus, it fits right in your pocket. Simply slide your favorite cores into your Fume and breathe in the benefits of Mother Nature. It's that simple. Check out their variety of blends and the benefits at breathefume.com. That's Fume is F-U-M, so it's BREATHEFUM.com. Use the promo code PROBLEM10. You'll get 10% off your order today. This has really been helping me cut down on vaping. I know a lot of people who have...
Okay, I'm going to go to chat now that I did a little bit of cleanup. Okay. Let me go up to where I left off. I wish there was a way to keep my chat like frozen for me at where I left off, but it doesn't let me. So I apologize again. If there's something I missed, try to bring it to my attention, because it seems like a lot went by since my last one. I'm really so glad of that. But okay, I see where Kyle said he'll listen to my other videos. There's a timeline on the LNC list. Also on the LNC list, there's a Google Drive folder. Everything's not uploaded to that folder yet. But as I am pulling the relevant documents out of my email, I am putting it on this Google Drive. I will put Ken's timeline on the Google Drive, but the state chair, Dan Reel of Connecticut, also prepared a timeline. So there's that. And I'll try to add to show notes, if I remember, the link to that Google Drive. Richard Brown, how to find my video on how to view the LNC list. If you go to YouTube and go to Libertarian Party Official, it's the one with the blue chicken logo, not the gray, and you search for the word transparency, you'll find a video, I think it's entitled LNC Transparency Tutorial. It's from about a year ago, and that will teach people how to view the LNC list. Dylan asked that no one has voted to disaffiliate. That's really something we haven't covered yet, that there is an active motion, and that's correct. But I haven't voted yet. I'm appealing the ruling of the chair that he doesn't need to give more specific reasons. I'm doing that appeal at the request of the New Hampshire party. Chris Carabas, the chair has not voted yes. He just started the motion. Unless he voted yes and I haven't seen it. And I withdrew my vote. And the ballot will last 7 days unless everybody votes earlier. And I'm not going to vote until I hear from the appeal of the ruling of the chair, or the New Hampshire party tells me that they're willing to sacrifice knowing exactly what the accusations against them are for the benefit of getting their data earlier. Right now, they believe justice demands that they know exactly what they're being accused of. Chris, he can't withdraw the ballot. It belongs to the body now, and I will deny him the right to withdraw the ballot. He put us into this game. He's going to see it to the end. Yeah, no way I'd move to the Free State Project right now. Not that I'm saying it was even a possibility. I like Colorado. My husband has a business that's established here. It's just not feasible. I kind of can work anywhere, but he has a real estate business he's built up for 30 years here. Plus, I want to start a mini one in Colorado. I actually don't think the idea of taking over a state is the right. I disagree with the Free State Project in that. I think taking over counties in various places over the country is the way to do it. Actually, you know, I've advocated this now multiple times. 1,500 libertarians need to move to New Way and buy their citizenship and wait the required amount of time and set up Libertopia in New Way. We've been invited. And yeah, here's the issue. Taxes on New England homes are effectively higher than the mortgage. You might not have a sales tax and other tax, but you pay it in property tax. And to me, a property tax is so fucking offensive. And you don't have legal drugs. Daniel tweet, I'm going to do a show on Georgism and the land value tax. I think it's horribly misguided and anti-libertarian to the extreme. So I absolutely disagree with you there. Hope that doesn't make you think less of me, but I oppose Georgism with every fiber of my being. And Kenny Kelly, you are incorrect. David Nolan did not agree with that. That is a spin by the Georgists. I will detail that out in full. I've done it in many videos before I had a YouTube channel. That is not correct. Him saying that a property tax is the least harmful is like saying out of a million ugly women, a certain one is the least ugly. It does not mean that he favored it. He absolutely fucking did not. Justin is correct. Georgism is just democratic feudalism. And it has some very, very, very bad consequences for property rights. And those of you who now might be all mad at me and butthurt because I'm not in favor of Georgism, because you probably haven't heard me say this before. Oh well. I put up with you guys who aren't pure anarchists, so you should be able to put up with me. Oh, Justin O'Donnell, that's interesting. Let me put this up here. Yeah, LPNH has a Platcom appointment. Make your Platcom appointment a secretary. I plan on accepting it and let the chair tell me I can't. That would be very interesting. Make your Platcom appointment. Because there's only one affiliate that I recognize. I would love to see you on the Platcom. Not that I'm trying to influence a vote. I'm just saying I would love to work with you. Kyle, I love you. I know. The anti-capitalists are just, it's just like, I never expect that. I never expect that. It's like there's some things you just never expect. But this is my personal stream. Like my personal stream. And people are all butthurt about me making money on my personal stream. Which, in most of my endeavors in life, anyone who knows me for a long time knows that I'm not about the money. But right now I am unemployed. And unfortunately, I've got to pay mortgage and things like that. Like, I already just got out of foreclosure. I'm not lying. Like, coronavirus hit us hard. Not that I lose my job, but the real estate market took a tank. I did go through a really, really bad depression where I was not the best manager of my money, full disclosure. And I've gotten treated for that. Things are going really well. And because things were going so well is why I quit my job, because it was just killing my mental health and I needed a healthier environment. But I've never been all about the money. Like, my podcast that I used to do for the biblical stuff was never monetized. My book, even though I had to copyright it, because if you don't, people can copyright your own work and then prohibit you from using it. I never enforce my copyright. Anyone can distribute my shit widely. I never do copyright strikes. I don't believe in IP. I believe that people will voluntarily give for content they enjoy. And I think it's so funny that libertarians of all people are getting butthurt. Getting butthurt. Fuck off. Diana, we can talk about this, I think, in a different stream, because this one's going on pretty long. It's already over 2 hours. I've got another interview to do tonight, so I'd like to finish this one up, but let's talk about that maybe later tonight. Okay. I want to put this up because it is a disagreement, and I like to highlight disagreements. Daniel tweet in arguing Twet, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, and arguing for Georgism is talking about fair access to natural resources needs to be sorted out. I'm going to put this on my list for shows. Speaking of monetizing, this is just in general. I do shows that interest me most first, but my top tier patrons, those at $25 or more a month, can request a topic a month that, as long as I think I can fairly and accurately cover it, and I will tell you if I can't, and I've never refused a topic so far, you get to demand the topic, basically, and I have one that was just asked for. It's not really demand, but Clayton gave me one. I forgot what it was. I need to relook at it. So if someone really wants me to put Georgism at the top of my list, if you become a $25 a month patron, you can do that. It's on my list, but it's not at the top of my list right now because it really doesn't interest me all that much, though enough for me to actually go on a little spiel about it. So I guess enough to talk about it, but not enough to put it at the top of my list right now. Okay. And thank you so much, Rich Clark. Thank you. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate the support for mental health. I'm going to be doing another show, I think soon, 2 of them actually, about my adult autism diagnosis and also about how ketamine treatment has really been revolutionary. This is under medical supervision. It's not me going out in the streets and popping shrooms. Not that I'm saying there's anything wrong with that, but this might help other people if people were open, and I'd like to discuss that on a show. And thank you, Daniel. I will, when I do Georgist or Geoist or Geo-Libertarianism, there's many words for it, I will try to be as fair as possible. Though, obviously, as you can see, I have an opinion. Daniel, opposed with every fiber of my being. You know I'm prone to hyperbole. But I'll explain why in a tweet. I do actually feel that way. But not that way towards Georgists. I have a lot of friends who are Georgists. Just like I have a lot of friends who are monarchies, and I hate the state with every fiber of my being. So please, please, please don't take that personally, because I think you're a sweetheart. Okay, let's finish up the stream. And I got to look at what time I'm supposed to be on that other show.
Of quit smoking and quit vaping using Fume. So make sure to go to breathefume.com/problem or just use the promo code problem10. That'll get you 10% off and breathe the benefits of the world's super plants today. All right, let's get back into the show.
The implications of this are going to be attempted to be swept away, and you can see it in the attitude of the LNC. Like, so some of the responses that are coming from the LNC is, well, we shouldn't recognize either of those organizations until this is solved. It's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that makes me want to spit. I know these people. Okay, I'm going to give you another biblical analogy that is on point here. Those of you who don't know the Bible, you might go, damn, there's some good stories in there, even if you don't need to believe all the God stuff, right? There's a story in the Old Testament about King Solomon, who was supposed to be the wisest man on earth. And there was a lady who lost her baby. And then there was another lady who had just given birth to a baby. And both women were claiming the live baby was theirs, and the king didn't know. So what Solomon did to determine who the mother of the baby was, and this is where the expression splitting the baby comes from. He goes, well, we'll just cut the baby in 2, and you can each have half. And the lady who lost her baby, who was so jealous of the woman who had a live baby, said, yes, let's do that. And that's how Solomon knew who the real mother was. The one who said, no, I'd rather let the other woman have it and let the baby live. This splitting the baby bullshit is cowardice.
We've recognized the one organization for decades now. There has never been a transfer of association. There's never been, like, what are you talking about? Is like not recognizing both of them. Oh, the LNC shouldn't be involved in this. This is a state issue. It's like, that would be correct if Joe Henchman, the chair of the National Party, didn't already muddy these waters, and so that has to be dealt with. So, so there's going to be a meeting of the LNC on Friday evening, it looks like. These meetings are public, and they're live streams.
Do you know what time on Friday?
I don't yet. It's most likely going to be 7 o'clock Eastern, something like that. and it's going to be really important that there is pressure applied, and that we get as many people to view that as possible, and to apply that pressure. And there's also we've done this many times before, but you can also email the LNC, and you can do it like a one-click. We can link to that on the.
Yeah, that one-click thing, that's my doing. The LNC, some members really do not like hearing from members. I've probably got 3,000 emails in my box now. It's going to take me a while to get through them. But I respond to every non-abusive email. And if you emailed and it hasn't been abusive to me, because I see no response, no requirement to respond to abuse, you'll get an email from me eventually. I do respond to every email, and I am so grateful that people are emailing. But that one-click thing, you can thank me for it.
Show notes page as well, but and demand that this be taken seriously, that the implications of the chair and his involvement be taken seriously and investigated, and that there's justice done to the people that are responsible for this.
Yeah, listen, I gotta say, man, and I mean, I'm looking at this, and barring that there is some drastically new information which I don't see what it could be at this point, but with the exception of that, if this is what it clearly appears to be, there's really no other option than Joe Bishop Henchman needs to resign or be removed. And I'm not saying that like flippantly. It's not something that I want to be in the position of saying. I don't want him to be removed. I want Angela to beat him.
The funny thing is he and I got along so very well this past LNC meeting. And then all of this. It's sad.
Fair and square. That's what I want to happen. But this is just too outrageous. I mean, this is an absolute, like a criminal, unethical act that he has no authority to do, to defraud the will of the members of the party, to steal from them.
And not just
outrageous.
But the precedent that this sets.
It's unbelievable. These people are like, they're literally willing to tear the party apart. Yep. It's really like it's. They'd rather burn it down than lose. They'd rather burn it down than lose, or they'd rather undermine the entire. This strikes at the very heart of how the party is run and governed. That this is a bottom-up organization run by its members, or as somebody once famously said, it's run by those who show up. And this is like the first thing that I thought when I heard this is like, oh my God, this sounds like what America does in other countries when they install democracies and then the votes don't go the way they want. Right. You know what I mean? Like this is insane. And I'm telling you, I can't stress enough. It's going to be attempted to be swept under the rug. And I hate to say it, but you're absolutely right. He should be removed. This is highly egregious. They stole a state party, and the chair was involved. But for nothing other than factional crap, it's not going to happen. Exactly. I'm willing to bet that they get a censorship. Now, for those who don't know, a censorship is nothing really. Like, I don't know if you watched that cartoon Doug when you were little, and the principal's always saying like, "This is going to go on your permanent record." Exactly. Like that's kind of like what a censorship is. It's basically saying like, you did this, we know you did this, you fucked up, don't fuck up again. So it's mostly symbolic. Like it's basically just like a formal slap on the wrist. Right.
At the same time, it kind of binds, or at least I hope, it binds him from future corruption.
Okay, pardon me while this is going on. I'm going to be pulling up Twitter because I need to look at when I need to be on my next show.
Because you can't just stack up censorships. And it's a huge narrative victory. Angela don't have any censorships. You know what I mean? Like,
Angela was not involved in a coup attempt.
Right, or state, like in her state or otherwise, he's now going to have to deal with this.
Here's what I really care about coming out of this, and we can kind of getting toward the end, and if there's more stuff you want to say, you can. But I just to take my big takeaways from this is, look, here's what I really care about coming out of this. Number one, the party has to be returned to the rightful party. We can't allow this to just be stolen from the people who worked their asses off, showed up, and were elected by the members of this party. Those people need to get their state party back, period. If they do not, then the party, and particularly the people involved in this, have just destroyed their credibility and destroyed the credibility of the party in many ways. It's so funny, ironically, because the criticism of me, right, because I dared to say that what I care about is liberty, not the Libertarian Party. And a lot of my critics have jumped on that and like, oh, he's not loyal to the party. And, people criticize me for, you didn't vote for the party candidate every single time and all this stuff. Yet they're really willing to destroy the party when it's not the candidate that they want to be.
Yeah, who really cares about it? Yeah, who really cares about it by that standard?
Yeah, it's quite revealing. The other thing, though, and this is really the thing I've been talking about all year long, and a lot of people have kind of misconstrued it, or I think maybe sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally. But when I've talked about uniting with other members of the party, look, the fact that this shady shit that's going on, like this was like 2, 3, maybe 4 people involved in this. There's a few people who acted in a reprehensible fashion. This is not the vast majority of the party. And
probably something closer to 16, 17. There's 13 people listed as the new board and everything in New Hampshire.
Okay, well,
then there's the mystery co-conspirator. Then there's the chair and whoever else.
Fair enough, but I just mean who actually pulled this thing off. Yes, there certainly are other people who are willing to go along with it and who are willing to, take the positions and things like that. But look, we may have disagreements with Justin Amash on some messaging issues, but Justin isn't a corrupt guy. We may have, I may have had a few disagreements with Spike Cohen on some messaging issues. Spike is not a corrupt guy. These are good people who believe in liberty and do want to see more liberty in the country. There's lots and lots and lots of people like that in the party. I would really, really hope that those people will stand up against this and just do the right thing. Now, I understand it's somewhat self-serving in this instance, as it, behooves the Mises Caucus for me to request that. But the truth is that that's just the reality of the situation. This is what happened here. I swear, I am being 100% sincere when I say this. If we were ever in a position like this, where we had the chair of a party and Angela won, let's say Angela's our chair, and then I don't know, we have the state chair of a party, but the Prags come in and they get a clean sweep and they have every other position and they've taken over the energy of the party, and it's a Prague state affiliate. And you or Angela came to me and went, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have Angela sign this letter. The state chair is going to form a new chair. We're going to completely illegally, without authority, do this. And we're going to kind of screw over all of these people who elected these people. I mean, there is, first off, obviously, for ethical reasons, I would be like, absolutely not. We can't do anything. But the thing that's sticking out in my head more is just, I would also right away be like, this is going to blow up in our face. Like, if we do this, this is going to make us look horrible. It'll be such a huge narrative victory to the people that we're trying to disenfranchise here. Like, this is just so stupid to attempt to do. So I would just say to other people, because I've seen some people out there who were like, a little bit like, oh, this just shows how corrupt the party is, and that's why we can't even deal with this. And I saw some people who were like, let me know if Angela wins, and then I'll get involved, but I can't get involved till then because they're so corrupt. Listen, this...
Yeah, the fact that there are people, and I'm not trying to blow my own horn here, because I'm fallible as anybody, but the fact that there are people who right now just happens to be, I happen to be one of them, just only one, who are willing to blow the whistle on this shows you that this is a party worth preserving. Please sign up. If you want to withhold your money from the general fund, you can dedicate it to ballot access. You could dedicate it to the historical fund, which is hated by all the right people.
This should just do nothing but light a fire underneath you. This is proof that we are doing this. This party is going to be exactly what we want it to be. It really is making me excited, because it's like they know it, we know that they know it, and we know that they know that we know that they know it. So that's the state of things in the Libertarian Party.
And they still lie. Now. And they still lie is the end of that quote.
That's right. Yes. But that's the state of things right now. So people should be excited. This should make you want to double down. If you get in on it now, you're going to be like, oh, we were a part of taking this thing back to
You know, in theory, I agree with them, but that's easy to say when it's not invaded your entire life as it has mine. I don't think you guys know the toll that this takes on the people who are fighting on the side of the angels. I don't think you have any idea the toll that this has taken on me. None.
What it's supposed to be. To what it's supposed to be, the real liberty movement. Look, man, the fact that these people up there, they would violate every libertarian principle. There's every libertarian, basic property rights principles in order to try to get some people out who they don't want to be in. It's really something. Anyway, what are your like thoughts or anything else you want to add?
What you're describing has already happened. Is already happening. Like I said, there was a bunch of people in the LNC and otherwise that were down there that are influential in the inner machinations of the party. And like, I won't name names, but there's one guy that I was starting to grow suspicious of. Totally on the right side, got my respect. Another person that I've been very skeptical of for quite some time, totally on the right side. We all exchange phone numbers. Amash, me and him have a phone call to talk about what kind of resources we should be generating to support candidates. Like me and Spike are friends, we talk back and forth. We've been hanging out at a lot of these conventions. Like what you're talking about is already happening. This and we're not here to take over the party from libertarians. We're here to take over the party from bad actors that have destroyed the party and are willing to literally destroy it rather than lose. Like we're not against any libertarian. We want to turn what it has been and turn it into like a friendly and fair competition. The way I see it is like, all right, you got the Prags and you got these different factions and we're just coming in and saying, look, we have a different vision for how the party should be run. We're more in line with the founding vision of the party. And, we want to compete with you with whose vision is going to be controlling the party or pushed forward. But in the course of that, as long as we are beholden to the interests of the party above ourselves, then no matter who wins, the party is built in that competition.
Okay, I did go to chat for a minute here. I just want Justin O'Donnell to know something. I know you guys really want your data. Me holding up the disaffiliation vote is with the blessing of Nolan. I would immediately withdraw my request for appeal from the ruling of the chair if he asked me to. But in a choice between a rock and a hard place, he really wants the chair to be forced to say the exact reasons. And I agree with him for myself, but I can't make that decision for New Hampshire. But I did what the chair refuses to do, and that is actually talk to the people involved. What a novel idea. So if you're wondering why I am holding up that vote, it is with the blessing of the XCOM. If they asked me to do differently, I would do differently. I understand you need your data list to solicit applications for Platcom. The deadline for that is December, so you have plenty of time. Even if you appointed someone temporarily, which you can do until now, no discussions are taking place until every single state appoints its platform committee seat. I was just being a little ornery in saying that I would love to recognize a platform committee from you guys. Platform committee seat, because you're the only affiliate I recognize, and it would be to prove a point, but it would be just to prove a point, because deliberations cannot begin until every state appoints its representative, and there are a lot of states who haven't. New Hampshire isn't the only one. And I know there's a troll in chat who's just like all about the boobs, but you want to know what? I'm all about the boobs too. And
it's no big deal if you lose. It's like, oh, well, there's always next year. It doesn't have to be like this hateful, spiteful, control thing. And that's what it's been turned into and what we're trying to take it back out of.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. I am, like I said, I'm more optimistic now than I've ever been. I really think this thing couldn't be going any better than it's been. The whole Mises Caucus experiment is just as successful as I could have possibly hoped it would be.
Absolutely. One last thing I'll add on the New Hampshire thing is I don't want people to think that this isn't being taken serious on our end and on the ground and, oh man, we're just waiting for this LNC thing, and all of that. No, police reports have been filed. Lawyers are being consulted. If they don't get the friggin' party back soon, they're going to move forward with that. And I'm fully in support of them with that. There's already been footage of the storage unit where all their physical assets were stolen from. They're in contact with the storage.
Michael, if you see this, I would like that video. I'm getting an expanding audience to get attention. If you can see your way clear to ethically give me a copy, I would love to broadcast that video.
Storage unit place to get an ID on who these people were. They describe suspicious activity out of these people. So it's absolutely being taken serious on all levels. And that's why we've got to push the party and apply that pressure in the meeting and do the email and everything like that, because this can't slide, and they cannot be allowed to sweep the henchman and the mystery co-conspirator aspect of this under the rug. It's just too big. But like you said, last thing I'll say is, like you said, you're surprised that they did this now, and so am I, because
you want to know something just occurred to me. The LNC can demand that the chair reveal who this co-conspirator is if he knows the identity. I might make that motion.
last year, all right, this year they stole a state party. Last year they tried to steal a convention. Like, they literally tried to cancel a legitimate convention. I won't get into all the details, but it was obscenely corrupt. But they at least had the sense to do that at the 0 hour, where there was like no recourse and no, way out of it or way to do anything about it. Like, it was just at the end of the whole process culminating in the convention. This is a year out. Like, 11 months. We're 11 months out from the convention, the national convention. Where,
but this is the kind of the point I was making, is that it speaks to what they actually see as the state of things. And even though we're 11 months out, they realize how much we're in the driver's seat here. And look, the truth is that you got a situation where they see the writing on the wall, and so they're acting in a desperate manner. But the thing to me that I just couldn't, when I first saw this, and it was Justin O'Donnell, I believe, who messaged me about it. Again, not a Mises Caucus guy, but just a guy who sees the outrageous corruption of this and is like, "What? Like, this is not." This
actually,
is
he was not a fan of the Mises Caucus up until somewhat recently, where we saw how many people we're bringing in, how much work we're doing.
Right. So here's the thing. Yeah. Here's what starts to happen, and this is why this brought a smile to my face when I first saw it. Even though obviously I understand this is stressful and it's fucked up to the guys who were elected out in New Hampshire. And I'm not trying to like downplay that at all. This is really wrong. What they did to you, they stole from you, and that's not okay. But it brought a smile to my face, because it's just like, how stupid could you guys be that you're just overplaying your hand and exposing yourselves, which is really all I wanted. All I've been calling for this whole time is like, let's put our cards out on the table. As I said in my speech in Pittsburgh, I said, hey, if you guys, and I meant this, if you guys don't want Ron Paul libertarians in the party, say so. Let's have that debate. I'm very happy to have that open debate.
Yeah, I'm very happy to have the open debate too. And I think we've pretty much gotten to the end of this, and I do have another show to go to. So I'm just going to go to finish up over here. Let me see if I can figure out how to not share the screen. Let me just see what I can do. I think if I just close that window. There we go. And expand me out here. Okay. So, yeah, and I see Justin agreed with Nolan. I want to just answer the last few questions, and then I have to go, but let me just make sure I didn't miss any of them. Okay. The vote hasn't been delayed. There was a ruling of the chair after a point of order that was raised by both myself and Joshua Smith, that vague violation of the statement of principles is not a legitimate grounds for cause per the national bylaws for disaffiliation. So we said he needs to be more specific. The problem is that kind of holds up the vote. Not really, because the 7-day window is still, the clock is still ticking. There's a 7-day window. But if everyone votes earlier, the ballot can end earlier than 7 days. And we were well on track to everyone voting earlier till I withdrew my vote and appealed the ruling of the chair that his vague grounds were sufficient. I only did that after I consulted with the interim chair of the New Hampshire party to say, is this okay with you? Because it will mean you delaying getting your data. You have to weigh what it is that you want. And they feel that justice demands that this chair have to say why he's disaffiliating. He hasn't given a reason other than this vague bullshit. And let me give you precedence for this. I'm on the APRC. If you don't know what the APRC is, it's the Advertising, Publication, and Review Committee. We are allowed to disapprove we review every communication that comes out of the party except for social media, unfortunately. We used to review social media, but like Twitter can't have a 24-hour review period. It's much faster than that. So we review like the written, like the letters that go out and things like that. And we're allowed to disapprove it on certain grounds. And one of those grounds is violation of the Statement of Principles. But I, as an APRC member, am not allowed to just say, I disapprove because it violates the Statement of Principles. The chair will demand me to be specific and say how it violates the Statement of Principles. Yet he's not following his own fucking rules. No. You can't just say violation of the Statement of Principles. You must say how. And every single member, no matter what side of this you're on, even though there is only one legitimate side, I'm sorry, there is no argument for the other unless you're just a pro-coup person. But both alleged sides need this answer because otherwise the Judicial Committee will not be able to make a ruling because it's too fucking vague. And that's probably the game that the chair is playing. And as long as the New Hampshire party gives me its blessing to stall the vote, but here's the thing, write your LNC members and demand that they sponsor my appeal because it will not go forward without 4 sponsors. Now, I haven't looked at the email list since I started this stream, but last I saw, I only had one other sponsor. And I'm really disappointed in John Phillips because he will not sponsor it. If you're in Region 6, demand that he sponsor it. All I need is 3 more sponsors, and the chair then will have to hear my appeal. I might not win my appeal, but let's at least do it. And this doesn't really have to delay things, because if LNC members want to, they could vote within 10 minutes. So that's the history of that. Okay, that appears to be it. I remember Justin O'Donnell being anti-LPMSC. We've had conversations about it, he and I. But, you know, listen, reasonable people end up disagreeing on things, and then eventually they do come together at some kind of common ground. And Justin O'Donnell, I have proudly served on the LNC with. He's a man of good faith, and I can work with anybody who's of good faith. So, I'm going to be taking off. I'd like to actually do the outro this time if I can figure out where it's at on the screen, which I can't. Where is window, scenes? I'm using Ecamm for those of you who start to... Okay, I think I can find it. So, I'm going to be on Aquarian. I think it's Aquarian Anarchy later tonight. And I'll put forth a link and all of that. So, until then, good evening from me and from my fabulous tits. Have a good night. If I can figure